Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are live on a wonderful Thursday night. We are ready to go. TNA is back, and so is the Wrestling for Life Network. We have all your reaction to all the action tonight. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a full house here on the channel, and we can't wait for the show to kick off. But make sure you hit like, subscribe, be a part of the family, the channel that's growing by the minute, the channel that gets copied but can't be duplicated. But all that being said, folks, strap in, strap on, grab your snacks, grab your feel good. Let's go. Ding, 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 folks. We are back at it again. Like I said, we are the Wrestling for Life Network. We are the channel that just covers more live wrestling than anyone else out there. And we are ready for TNA Impact tonight. It's going to be a fun one, folks. So make sure you hit like, subscribe, click all our links below. Be a part of the growing channel that is us. And without further ado, I will remind you, I am every night KJ White, the Iron Man of YouTube. And that is Big Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its YouTube tag stream champions of the world. And actually, we're going to be soon, I believe, the tag trios champions of the world with the chapeau that runs the show here. But we've got the Every Night Delight, Mr. KJ White. I'm Big Nick. And yes, we've got the first kind of weekly episode of TNA Impact. Now it's going to be confusing because they're using both names, but that it's back because this was still recorded after Hard to Kill. But TNA's back.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a big show. Okada is going to be on the show. Ospreay, Alexander 2 is going to be on the show tonight. I believe we're getting Tasha Steelz is going to be on against
Vets versus EY and Kazarian. We're getting Josh Alexander versus Ospreay 2. We're getting Nick Nemeth, all that.
Yes. So loaded. A lot of buzz around TNA. We're looking forward to getting into it. I already see some of the fans. Right there you go. TNA. So let's go. Welcome, JoJo. By the way, go check out our friends over at the Fantasy Faction and Cheap Pop and all those fun places as well. But yeah, Nick, a lot going on in the wrestling world for sure, coming off the heels of last night. But yeah, I mean, TNA killed it, literally, with Hard to Kill. They put on a banger of a show, almost a perfect show. Some thought it was pretty much perfect. Great way to set the tone for the new era of TNA.
Oh, absolutely. And I like that they're playing into the bit of the history, bit of still moving forward, because like they're bringing back the old theme from TNA. They've kind of adapted the old logo, but freshened it up a little bit. We were talking about it during the Hard to Kill show. Anthony actually threw out the idea of if they did a special pay-per-view that was all 6-sided ring matches and stuff like that. Yeah, TNA is a buzz, and I still stand by if they aren't already, by the end of 2024, they will be the second biggest promotion in the U.S.
There you go. Bold statement. And again, they're knocking on that door as far as interest, as far as buzz, maybe even ticket sales in a lot of cases. But yeah, I mean, definitely trying to make waves and grow their fan base. And so far, so good for TNA. I mean, real quick, we got some people already saying hello. I did want to touch on Dale letting us know that AEW ratings were 891. Once upon a time, that would be like an okay show, but it feels like a good show. It's their best ratings since Grand Slam last year. So good on them.
Really? I feel like they've done higher than that.
As an average rating, I do not believe so.
Fair enough. But that's still, that used to be a weaker show for them, and now that's like a good show. That's a problem. That's a problem.
A little bit. And then the question becomes, was the juice worth the squeeze? Is Tony's little tirade leads to more eyes, more people tuning in to see this match? The main event that we had last night, was it all worth it? Does it, can he sit back and go, well, see, I spiked the rating. Now I'm going to go pick another fight.
I don't know if it, in that aspect, I think it was a solid show-ish. I think it was a better one of their shows. So I don't know if it warrants going on another tirade to get that type of reaction, but you should not have to use Twitter to do your booking and, you know, get your hype for your show, I feel.
Facts. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And again, I mean, mixed emotions about the show last night. I saw some people jump on and they were very happy with it, but I mean, I still feel like there's flaws that are lacking. But again, as long as they're trending in the right direction, there's hope for next week. But overall,
Well,
yes.
speaking of that match, and I didn't know if it was cool if we kind of deviated a little bit off that topic. But shout out to
Mhm.
everyone in the chat. How do you feel? I know we talked about it on stream and everything when we were obviously watching the match, that the Hook kicking out at 1 to the Muscle Buster, the finish of that match, has very much become the topic of conversation amongst the IWC, I guess. How
Yeah,
do you feel?
it's funny, and we talked about it when it happened, and I agree. I agree with the sentiment that it shouldn't have been done. It shouldn't have been done that way. There's other ways to get there, right? You could have hit a Uranagi. You could have hit,
Mhm.
a Death Valley Driver, a Samoan drop. There's options. I'm a old school guy. Protect the finishers, right? Like, yeah, I think it was last week. Hangman hit a buckshot and then hit another buckshot, and it's like, well, just win with one. Finishers are sacred to me, right? You don't get finish him and then you get 3 moves to kill him off.
Well,
Like,
they're supposed to be, just nowadays they aren't, and unfortunately, it seems like the only person whose finisher's actually protected, oddly enough, is Baron Corbin, of
oddly
all
enough,
people.
yeah.
But
So, well, go ahead.
no, you're good. Finish.
So yeah, I mean, I think for me, I don't love, and I saw people defending it, but I think it's that goalpost moving of, if one company does it, it's all blasphemy, and if another company does it, we're all okay with it. I think if you grade both companies at the equal scale and give them the same type of treatment, yeah, I mean, we kick out a no sell too much on that particular show, and I feel bad for Hook because this is a bigger problem than Hook.
Well, absolutely, and granted, I think that match was actually really great. I thought that match, beyond really that point, was a great breakout kind of match for Hook. It's actually the first match I felt that he's had in AW that mattered. Um,
Yep, for sure.
so But to me, it's that whole sequence. You could have just done it backwards a bit, and gotten the same effect and almost seemed maybe a little bit more impactful because it would have been so sudden. If Joe gets the chokehold in and everything,
Yep,
looks Taz's kid. Taz does the kata hajime and everything. That's why we do
yep.
the joke and everything, the coquina clutch. So he should have been. You can play off the story of Hook should have knows that move since he
Yep.
was a toddler, so he can get out
Mhm,
of it. He wriggles out of that, whatever. Joe hits the
mhm.
muscle buster. Bang, boom. There's your
Oh,
finish. Nobody kicks out of the muscle buster because that's the same move on this same company, on this same show. Um, kind of broke Roddy Strong's neck. That's why he was
right?
in the neck brace.
And I said that last night. Like, if Joe had hooked the chokehold, and Hook was able to do like the run up the turnbuckle spot and push back,
Right, the flip
get that
over.
2 count. Everybody pops like, oh my god, he rolled him up. Oh, he kicked out, and then when he spins back around, he gets scooped up, dropped down, and it's that boom. It has more of an emphatic feel.
Or even going off of that, and yeah, absolutely with that of if he would have done that kind of reverse over the top spot and then reversed it into his own clutch, that's when he gets the kata hajime and everything. And then Joe just, I'm bigger than you, snatches him up and then hits the muscle buster.
Hmm.
Right there, boom, impactful. And it's
Hmm.
nice little quick sequence that calls in everything.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. And I mean, I find it funny right now where a lot of the fan bases, the tribal fan bases, are like, "Oh, this was way better than that," and da 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 da. They were both essentially glorified squash matches. Nobody had any faith in the challengers. I mean, at the end of the day, it was what it was. We need to kill 10 to 12 minutes, and that's what both matches accomplished. Yeah, a good showing for Hook because Hook's been in a lot of nothing matches, maybe outside of 1 or 2 matches with OC maybe, or
Then
was his
maybe,
match with Jack
I
Perry all
believe.
right?
But yeah, to me, one though, the Hook Joe match was supposed to be hyped up. The reason the Jinder Seth match got hyped up was because,
Don't
when trigger fingers turned to Twitter fingers.
right.
Um, so that's the reason that's getting held to that match. It wasn't ever supposed to be anything super huge. It was supposed to just be a match.
Mhm.
Um, that was a placeholder, and respectfully, and that's why, because of the comments by Tony, is why everyone got super excited for it and was holding it to that match. Now, granted, I did like the Hook match. Like I said, I'll keep saying that. I think I don't want to say it fully lived up to making him a star, but it's putting him on a much better level.
Oh, I don't think it made him a star. Like, I mean, again, he did well, but I would reserve that. It all depends on what Tony does with him now. You could give him some purpose, give him something to do. I still think Hook would be a great guy if they had Ring of Honor, like a developmental, and he was in there, fighting for the Ring of Honor championship. I'd have no problem. Guys like Daniel Garcia, Jungle Boy, some of the younger.
Could he go after Eddie?
What's that?
Could he go after Eddie? Speaking of Ring of Honor championship.
Again, I think it's another grown-ass man. Like, yeah, I guess he could. But, I mean, I'd almost rather him go after Orange Cassidy.
Well, Roddy's doing that. Shit, who would he go after? Because every other really kind of mid-cardy title, I feel, is Eddie.
It's Eddie. Yeah, maybe. But, again, I think it's another case of Eddie should swat that kid, pretty significantly and pretty fast.
Right. Yeah, because you can't go after Christian because you got the Copeland story. So yeah, where do you go with Hook post this though? You got him over, you got him buzzing, and you got people talking about him, but now you got to have a follow-up.
Yeah, and we've always given Tony Khan credit for being able to throw a match together. We pull a couple names out of a hat, put them in the ring. They'll give us a quality match. There's talent there that find a way. It's what do you do with the talent? All right, everybody in the building was losing their mind for Hook. Hook gets himself over in a great performance. He was already kind of over as the cool hip kid, that was trying to, figure his way out, I suppose. But where do you go from there? Well, now we got to find out. Can he book him in a credible way?
Facts.
Let's say hi to the people.
I was going to say, shout out to the chat, by the way. We've been going for 12 minutes and haven't said hi to like nobody.
Right. Welcome, people. I hope you all are doing well. Remember, we are back tomorrow. We're on the verge of the weekend. Lots going on here at the channel. So, yeah, no, it's good to see all the same folks back and a bunch of new ones. But Damien's looking forward to Josh Alexander versus Will Part 2. How could you not? Like, this one should be excellent. And for all reports, I have no idea how the match goes. I don't even know who wins, but I heard it was good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you just throw those names and they could be fighting broomsticks, and it should be at least a 2.5 star match, I'd say.
Right. Bonkers, good to see you. Keyshawn, how you doing? We already said hello to Dale. Brother Fluff Salisbury, are you ready? Ronnie Chambers, Jojo, we said hello to. JV from NJ Chambers again. TJ Damien.
Go and check out us talking about that, by the way.
CX99, welcome back. C Money's in the house. Oh, that's not his name. There you go. Larry's back with us. Devin, the tribal chief. Yo, what's good? How you doing? And I think that's the ball. Larry Max with us. There you go. So let's see what else is going on in this chat as far as specifics. But yeah, we are a couple minutes away from the show. I believe it's going to be on TNA Plus.
Yes. And well, right now I've got Ring of Honor pulled up, and I've got Serpentico versus Mark Briscoe on. Actually, today's technically Mark Briscoe's birthday, so happy birthday. But again, talking about Dynamite last night, that moment with Mark coming out with Jay's kids and everything. If that's still not if that's not a special moment to you, your heart is cold as ice.
No, it has to be. I mean, that's sentimental. And again, we talked about it. We got deep into it last night, but the biggest part of this whole story is, his little girl was able to walk out onto that stage last night. And yeah, I know I kind of said last night, I really wish Mark was into something or some way to kind of pay homage, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's bigger than the wrestling. So what's up, Kyle?
Well, I do ask the question though, if he's gonna wrestle, or unless this is an old taping, because they're at Daly's place, so it might be an old taping. But if he was gonna wrestle, because I'm assuming they did the Ring of Honor tapings right after Dynamite, if he was gonna already wrestle, why not have it on the show?
Yeah, like, I mean, I would have had him on Dynamite. Like, I mean, we had a couple, we didn't really need Dustin Rose versus Christian. And people can debate, well, it was a good match and it wasn't a good match. It doesn't matter. It's just not a necessary match. Like, it doesn't really
Mm.
lead to anything. I think there was an opportunity to throw him in a match. And again, you could have a really good, just again, the fans want to cheer for Mark. Outside of everything else and the tragedy and all that was, the fans really love Mark Briscoe. The Briscoes, have a legacy that, that they, I don't want to say left behind, but, they have a legacy. They blazed a trail and people love Mark. Build on this guy, use this guy. Kind of like what we were talking about Hook. You have this talent that the crowd wants to put over. What do you do with him, Tony? Get
Well,
him
he's
away
done
from
it
you.
before with Eddie, all of that. And well, if Mark was going to wrestle last night, would he have not had to go on last?
No.
An emotional tie-in with Jay and everything, especially that day, I think he'd have to go. Like, you can't, you do have Hook and Joe follow that up.
Do you have the show? I believe we're past start time.
No, I have 24 minutes because it starts at 8:30 on the YouTube.
Oh, I thought they were airing it on TNA Plus.
Oh, I didn't even check that. I can check that.
Oh, okay. No, I'm checking it right now, but I don't see it. I thought the shows. Now, fans out there, you can confirm or deny, but I thought they were going to put the weekly shows up on TNA Plus, like Access. But I guess we will be starting at 8:30 on YouTube as our membership account. But
Right. Well,
yeah,
it would make sense for it to be if you're going to have this streaming service for it to be on there, but I don't know. Yeah, they only have No Surrender, or sorry, yeah, Hard to Kill, No Surrender for the upcoming. So they're doing their pay-per-views on here, it looks like, or their premium live events. Because outside of that, the only other videos I got are like from 2014.
yeah. All right, okay. My mistake. My mistake. I thought it was. Yeah, I definitely thought we were getting off the ground and launching now. I thought the show was going to be starting and we were going to get into it. But we'll,
Well,
visit
I
a
guess
little
it's a
more.
good thing I'm here.
There you go. I have someone to talk to. That's
Right,
perfect.
right, right.
But
Try access. We don't got that. We don't got no cable package.
right,
We
yeah, we're
got
not
the
playing around.
code.
No, generally on this channel, what we do, guys, is we will watch the show on YouTube. It starts a little bit later, but it's commercial free, so it ends at the same time. So it's kind of our way to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, and even then, it gives us some time to talk about, we've already been talking about all the craziness going on in wrestling. So absolutely. And we've got, so where do you think they're going to go in Impact with Nick Nemeth? Is he going to jump straight to the top of the card? Is he going to just have a secondary feud? Because he's kind of not jumped right directly into anything. Granted, he returned and attacked Moose, but
Yeah. No, that's what you do. When you bring in a big star, he takes out, the system, which is the faction that Moose is now the head of. Moose wins the championship. They're about to celebrate. And if you bring in a big star, you don't bring them into the mid. You bring them right to the big guy. You take out the biggest guy in the playground, and he hits a zigzag on Moose and sets the tone. Yeah, he'll wrestle a match with a Zachary Wentz or other people, but he is going to be going after that world title, which, I mean, potentially I could see him being the world champion sooner than later.
oh, absolutely. And especially in like an Impact. And so now I would be remiss though, when we were talking before Hard to Kill about how would somebody like a Dolph Ziggler, I think we mentioned him specifically, or a Nick Nemeth, I'll say no. Does he still feel like a big enough signing that they threw out there? We were talking Mercedes. Does it fit the bill? No.
I think so, because I'd never thought Mercedes was going to Impact, or TNA, sorry. But yeah, so I mean, we talked about this of like, okay, if it's not Sasha Banks, who is out there right now that has the biggest name value? Former world champion. I think he's going to tear it up. I think he's going to do great things in New Japan. I think he's going to do great things in TNA. So to me, yeah, for what TNA is and what they're trying to be, I mean, you sign that deal with AAA, you bring in Dolph, you brought back Decay, you got Dana Brooke. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, I think I'd say long-winded, yes.
No, that's fine. I do agree with it. Granted, up until you brought up Timu Tony Storm there, but yeah, I it's a shot in the arm. It may not have been what everybody, again, Twitterverse is, the worst averse. It might have not been what everybody was leaping to their own conclusions on, but I think it's going to be very much a shot in the arm, and he's going to be somebody that's there week in and week out, constantly on every show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I think it kind of makes me, it makes me excited for the brand, because I think Dolph getting in there, Nick getting in there with, Josh Alexander, Steve Macklin, Moose, Eddie Edwards, the list goes on, that you're like, I want to see all those matches. They all sound fun.
Right.
Very much, up for it.
Well, Boston saying they should keep Nemeth away from that title, in my opinion, unless they plan on putting it on him. Having him lose to Moose does nothing for him.
But he's a superstar, and I think the fans overthink this all the time, of like, well, a guy can't have a really good run at the champion and then, not win it, and then what do you do with him? It's not like if Dolph goes after Moose at the next pay-per-view and is unsuccessful, oh, he's fucking toast. We can't use him anymore. No, that's where good writing, good booking comes into play, and you could set up something like a chase or something else. Dolph is going to be Dolph. He's just proven it with, over 1 million hits on social media of his arrival in TNA. I think this is no different. He won't fade off. He's not buried if he doesn't win right away.
But should they go and, like, say next pay-per-view put him going at Moose, or do you use some time and give him a build and say, hey, the next pay-per-view is Ziggler versus Eddie Edwards?
Yeah, maybe
you work your way through the system.
Yeah, maybe, I guess, a little bit, but I think you use your weekly shows to run them through the system. And I have no problem with him going after Moose immediately. Like, I think at times we've watched it, and I think Tony Khan, I've accused him of being guilty of it before, with you bring in this big signing and you put him like, well, we don't want to rush him right to the top. Jay White's a perfect example. We'll just get him floundering, doing a bunch of middle stuff. And then by the time he goes after the champ, it's like, all right. But when you got to strike when the iron's hot sometimes. I thought CM Punk was the same way, of like, I don't care about CM Punk versus Lee Moriarty. I want CM Punk to get in there with the big guys. Like, don't waste too much time. And if you have the eyeballs on TNA right now, put your best foot forward. Go for broke. And I think Scott's smart enough and a good enough booker that win or lose, he'll be fine. But I'd have him win it. I'd have him win it just to make the deal of it. Nothing is more clickable for TNA right now than Nick Nemeth with your world title.
Oh, yeah. I think if he goes at it, he wins it. There's no, he goes at it and gets sent back and then has to run it back. No, he goes, and if he goes at it, he wins it.
Yeah. No, that's my 2 cents on that. I mean, I think too often we say that, like, well, they can't send so-and-so. And I mean, it's not always the case. And I'm not foo-fooing Boston completely, but certain names survive everything, right? Like, you got to understand, like, they're not instantly going to just, if he goes after Moose and then he doesn't get it, then, we've wasted, his TNA career. I think he'll be okay.
Right. Well, Kyle's asking, how does the TNA YouTube stream work? So you got to be a member on their YouTube for like all of $1 for a month.
Yeah.
And that's how you can watch it.
Yeah, you become a member for their TNA now. It used to be Impact. And one of the perks is that you get to all the weekly shows. Like I said, it goes on later, but it's commercial free. So it's like a 90-minute show. It's easy peasy, quick time.
So no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Right. Small Mark, I'm surprised Lacey Evans nor Mandy Rose have shown up in TNA as of yet. I'm not, because they've been out there showing the TNA.
They chose a different
they chose a different TNA.
Yeah. Well, Lacey Evans went on the record, Nick, of being like very blunt about, I wasn't a diehard like wrestler. I never, it was an opportunity for me, but I don't love wrestling. I just did it for the sake of, You know, they paid me. I'm athletic. You know,
You could tell watching her in the ring. You could
yeah,
tell.
at times for sure. So, I mean, yeah, what do you do? I think at the end of the day, who's the other one? Mandy. I don't know. I think they're gonna have to roll out the bank book for Mandy. Mandy could end up in one of the other two companies, and I do think there's always a possibility that she works her way back to the big one. But you know, if I was Tony, I'd throw some money at her to see if I could get that.
If she goes anywhere, she goes back to WWE, and
I agree.
even then, it'd be because she's getting paid. Um, but yeah, I still don't. I think she's just kind of. I don't want to say she was in that same vein of Lacey. It just didn't seem like she exactly had the passion for it or whatever. But I think she knew that she could do like the modeling stuff and everything beyond that. She had the
Yeah.
looks. She had that kind of personality a bit. So
Hmm.
she's more comfortable there, I feel, than in a wrestling ring.
Yeah. And again, there's other names out there that I'm still kind of waiting to see what happens with. Tennille Dashwood's one of them. Does Bunny go back to TNA? Do they bring her back to life?
Right.
Uh, there's definitely names out there that you know where's Elias gonna go? We clearly he's planning a comeback. He's
Elijah.
Elijah. And again, you know, you could always see a guy like you know Mustafa Ali stop in and say hello. He's working the indies. Do you see the graphic he put up of like all the shows he's on are sold out? Like there's 12
No,
sold
but
out shows.
I've been a big advocate of Ali even when he was in WWE. So I'm not surprised, and he's a guy that it's really great to see, much like even, I guess, relating it back to TNA, like Macklin is a guy that invested in himself, went over to TNA and has reinvented himself and made himself one of the top guys doing it. I think
Mhm.
Mustafa Ali's year of doing that is going to be this year, 2024. Like you said right there, every show that
Mhm.
he's been booked on, sold out.
Yeah, and as a guy that I wasn't the biggest Ali fan, I felt like,
Mhm.
and a lot of people were like, they fumbled him. I felt like they gave him plenty of opportunity outside of Retribution, which was a fumble. But then
Mhm.
they tried the political gimmick. They tried the light up hand. They, you know, he was a 205 guy. And again, they could have probably done it better. But I want to wait. Like I want to see what Ali does because he could make me a believer in 2024.
There you go. There you go. There you go. What else was I going to click on? Oh, Dactyla, what up? Saying, hey guys, watching this show live was incredible. I'm excited to rewatch. So yes, she was at Hard to
Oh wow.
Kill,
Hmm.
and because they did, obviously TNA is good at doing the tapings. That's why
Hmm.
when we watch it tonight, it's gonna still look like Hard to Kill because they recorded it right afterwards in Vegas,
Right.
though, or the next day actually.
Right on. Right on. No, that's
Uh,
good. I hope the show was good.
MD says Lacey Evans and Mandy Rose too busy. Whoa,
Well, if you know, if the shoe fits.
oh
Trent, welcome, welcome, welcome. TNA is supposed to announce more signings in the coming weeks. I truly believe that. I do think there's a lot of names out there, and we'll get a lot of surprises from this company moving forward.
oh, absolutely. This is just the start of it. 100%. They are just still. That's the thing is they have to keep the snowball rolling. They have to keep rolling downhill or uphill, I guess, if whatever proverb you want to go with here. They have to keep progressing because stagnation is the cousin of death.
Yeah, and again, you said it. You know, if they want to keep climbing that proverbial ladder and
Right.
compete with AEW for that, you know, that spot, they got to continue to produce. And again, you can't rest on your laurels. You kind of got to get back in it. And I think they're doing a great job having Ospreay on. You know, your technically your premiere episode of your weekly show. Great, Okada. A lot of talk about Okada. Even I don't know how his match went, but I know we kissed the TNA logo, and we all knew there was heat from his past time in TNA. So they've come to terms and are in a much better place now. So kudos to Scott for what he's attempting.
Yeah. Because they had him out there as Kato from the fucking Green Hornet. Um,
Fact.
but could we see, especially with TNA working with um, Endeavor, with TNA Plus and everything like that, like we already discussed a little bit
Mhm.
tonight.
Yep.
Could we see by the end of 2024 that TNA has a media rights deal or has a TV deal beyond like an access, like something that's much more accessible,
You know what? I mean, it's going to take some work to
or
get
at
there.
least talks of it?
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, I think that would be the next evolution, especially when you're talking about competing fully. Like one of the knocks, we always talk about comparables. Yeah, you can probably sell as many tickets as AEW to certain shows. You can probably, move the needle or create buzz online. But until you're kind of up on, weekly programming, again, it's a tough comparable, right? So I hope they find that they, land a home.
Right. Speaking of landing home, but we'll wait for the thumbs up here.
There we go. Landing home indeed.
Well, I'll touch on this real quick here. Of Biggie, Easy Bake saying Biggie has been in a lot of talks, and a lot of talk shows this week with the New Day. So maybe Rumble, hopefully.
I gave a theory about this, and we can touch on that. But speaking of a new day, a new dawn. Oh, 1 second, 1 second. Multiple buttons.
My hands are up, so I'm proving I didn't click anything.
Yeah, there you go.
What's up?
How's it going, Anthony? The hat attack is back in the house.
Going good. I'm a little under the weather. I think I'm starting to get all year round allergies instead of seasonal allergies. But other than that, I am okay.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
All right. Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not fun. It's been a struggle all day.
Right. But welcome to the stream. I guess I'm assuming we're all watching on YouTube tonight, so we're all kind of dialed in. Okay. Just quickly on that New Day idea, I wondered if because they've been taking out members of the New Day, do they all kind of sit on the shelf for a hot minute and then all come back together?
Right? I can believe it. I think it's a possibility. But you also hear talks of like Xavier's about to come back, or Kofi was only there for a hot minute. And I also don't want to rush Big E back on anything just because of what obviously happened.
I don't think they will. But the injury angle, right? So Imperium's taking them all out, took out Kofi, they take out Woods. Now, if Big E joins the mix, you have New Day going up against Imperium, Big E versus Gunther. That sounds pretty to me.
Oh, I could see it, and I would love for it to happen. I guess more of I'd rather love to wait and see the surprise than start to get my mind even thinking about I want it to happen, because then I'll be like you, I'll be greedy.
Dream big.
No, I actually think it would be nice to have the New Day all come back together, including Big E. Could it be, at WrestleMania? Could it be just a week from now at the Royal Rumble? Most definitely. But yeah, I want to see all three of them back together very, very soon.
I like it. We are apparently 7 minutes away from the start of this show, if my thing is correct. Anyone else want to confirm that?
I have 7:44.
42, 41.
Right.
All right. So longest pre-show for TNA ever. But Anthony, you're kind of the Impact TNA guy on the channel. This is their kind of relaunch of their weekly show. And Nick and I were saying it feels like they're doing it right.
Yeah, I think starting off the new era of Impact with Tasha Steelz and Xia Brookside and Josh Alexander, Will Ospreay, starting that off tonight, I think is excellent. You're gonna give the fans a little bit of Impact Wrestling, the old Impact Wrestling with Josh Alexander and Will Ospreay, and then you're going to show the new side a little bit with Xia Brookside, and not necessarily Tasha Steelz. Tasha Steelz is a knockout, powerhouse in her own right, but just showing a little bit of new and old tonight. I think to touch on, I did listen before I got on to touch on, I think you guys were talking about Nick Nemeth and the world title.
Yeah.
Knowing TNA's track record, even as Impact Wrestling, they are going to throw that title on Nick Nemeth as quickly as possible. I do not see it happening at No Surrender or Sacrifice because they're more of monthly specials than pay-per-views. But come Rebellion in April, Nick Nemeth is going to have that title. Just look at how quickly they did it with Trinity. She came in, she had her first match with Kylan King, then she faced Giselle Shaw at Under Siege, then at Against All Odds it was her and Deonna Purrazzo in a tag team match, and then boom, at Slammiversary, the next big pay-per-view, she won the Knockouts title. So I think that's going to be similar to Nick Nemeth.
Yeah, I think so. Man in the middle.
No, I agree. I was literally just captivated just listening to this man. But I do also want to ask Anthony, how do you feel? And I know this might be before your time of when you got into TNA/Impact. How do you feel that they're even still kind of paying homage to like the old school, the original TNA of like they're keeping the TNA original theme? You mentioned during Hard to Kill about them maybe doing a whole show with the six-sided ring, that they're kind of playing with harkening back to the old school TNA, but not like we're going to do this just the right way.
I think showing a little bit of nostalgia is great. I listened to the Cross the Line theme song for the first time today. I actually did not like it. That's just me.
They've been back one day and you already got heat with them.
He's not wrong. It's
I was
okay.
like, I don't know about this, but for the people that have been there for the long haul, they deserve, you know, as much payoff as they can with the rebrand of TNA. So give them Cross the Line, the six-sided ring, give them that in a pay-per-view, a pay-per-view special or something like that. So I think any nostalgia is good nostalgia as long as they do it right. And I feel like Scott D'Amore has the best intentions with anything he kind of does with this company.
That's what I think I like the most about all this. Like the whole TNA thing happened because the fans, the theme song because of the fans. Like if we can provide it to the fans and you guys are clamoring for it, you just give it to them. You know, make the fans happy, and it's working.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just want to give Anthony credit though, because I don't think that anyone really mentioned or has talked about the whole six-sided ring being a pay-per-view until he brought it up. So if that actually becomes a thing, that's the source right there.
Exactly. You heard it live here on the Wrestling.
The man's the force here, the future teller.
Yeah, it's a little bit of genius there, because my initial thought was just absolutely not. Stay away from it. Don't do it. Like blah blah. But then you say something, you know, you throw in the idea of what if they did a special show? You're like, I get behind that. All right, we're good. Let's go.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the wrestlers, one of the ones that specifically was like we should do like a pay-per-view surrounding the six-sided ring was Jordan Grace. And she's on both sides. She was like, the six-sided ring hurts, but to give fans something special, let's, you know, do one pay-per-view a year where we give them the six-sided ring for all the matches. So I think it's great both ways.
Right.
I mean, WWE does Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank. Like every pay-per-view's almost got a whole gimmick theme behind it, so it makes sense.
Right. What's up, Jody? How you doing? Anthony's hat is in the building. All of him is in the building. Any word when TNA bring back Explosion?
I haven't heard anything. I do believe if it comes back, I did see graphics of it. So they did something with Explosion this past weekend, but I think it's going to at least maybe replace, I think it's Before the Impact. I think that's what it's called, that they do before Impact. Yeah, I think it might replace that.
Okay. Can I make put a motion in that we change the name of Explosion when the company's TNA? I don't think we need Explosion to be a name for a show or anything like that. Maybe we could just change it a little bit, something more that's not kind of so Russo-y sounding.
I mean, yeah, you kind of go with what you got, right?
But you made it, you can change it.
Well, it ties into the idea. Do they have the same pay-per-views like Lethal Lockdown? Obviously, you know, you can't imagine Slammiversary or any of the major ones going anywhere, but do they revisit some of the, you know, the oldies?
I know they kept. I'm sorry. I think Nick was about to talk. So
you're good. Literally. Yeah.
You want me to go ahead? I think, you know, they kept some of them with like Against All Odds and No Surrender and Sacrifice. I think they're all kind of like original TNA pay-per-views. I think Lockdown only works best when it's the six sides, I think.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So if they do that, maybe they can have the six sides of steel match at, you know, the pay-per-view that's all you know, the six-sided ring. But I think for that match itself, or for that pay-per-view, it needs to be like kind of left alone because it only works with the 6-sided ring.
Well, no, then that's when you do them. You do it together. That's your
Right.
elimination chamber.
Yeah.
We were about to get the elimination chamber with WWE after Royal Rumble. And I mean, it's kind of a 6-sided thing. It's just got pods instead of corners. So, I mean, kind of fits.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will take a second just to say, I believe we are starting off the show right about meow. So folks, make sure you get in the chat. I see a bunch of new faces hanging out, but for everybody in there, hit like, hit subscribe, be a part of the family. We are back tomorrow. We are back all week long. We got more shows on the weekend. We got so much to bring to you. So be a part of it all. We are growing by the minute and slowly picking fights with as many people as possible.
No, we pick fights with people who deserve it. We're
true.
opium dealers, and we're going at the hadiums.
Especially with the name JD. So
and he's like, "What subtlety? Well, you know who it is."
I like it.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Kicking
I
off.
think it's just kicking off.
Yeah, I got it right now. Kicking off.
Kyle's excited for the show. I just signed up for TNA YouTube. I mean, it's relatively cost effective, folks. And again, if you want to wait, I mean, it's already a pre-show, like a pre-tape show. So if you can wait 30 more minutes, you don't have you can get it done quicker by watching it on YouTube.
Exactly.
Well, and I was going to say, well, and to do another terrible transition off of that is, while you're digging into them pocketbooks, we do also have the super chats, the super stickers, our membership as well, so you can help support us as well.
Right.
We're out here. Change. Any spare change?
Right. Hello, my baby. Hello, my dog.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime girl.
TNA needs to do big towns. Well, they just did Vegas. Come on, man.
Viva Las
Well,
Vegas.
their plans are to go to bigger arenas and stuff in the next couple of months. So I think coming to bigger towns is not too far behind, but Las Vegas is pretty big. Can you really get any bigger than that? I don't know.
Right.
Well, yeah, at the Palms, I mean, there's obviously 18 million places you can do shows. If they're gonna do bigger venues, don't do the con effect and jump from kind of a 1,000-2,000 seat arena and then jump to fucking 20 or something like that. Stay gradually move up. Don't think you're gonna jump to the top there.
Yeah.
And I think TNA always is good at like sticking to what they know and sticking to the arenas that they've been to because they know the size of their fan base.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, and that's the smartest way to do it. Even when they had the smaller crowds and they were really good at funneling all that energy close to the ring, and you felt like the place was packed. You felt like the people were full. We're right into everything that was happening, opposed to when you have that small group of fans and a big echoey building. You kind of lose some of it there.
That's most definitely right. You kind of lose some of it there when you go big and not go home. If you say the least.
Are you still here? Why didn't you go home?
Right. Well, Jay West here, Hard to Kill, won me over as we're getting kind of a video package for Hard to Kill.
Yes.
And
now, a lot of fans, I'm assuming, sorry, Nick, before the next one, I
Mm.
imagine there had to be, I saw it on Twitter or X or whatever, a lot of people had that sentiment of like, I never really messed with this, but man, was Hard to Kill good.
It won the weekend. It made a statement, and that's exactly what they needed to do. They crossed the line. It was their turning whatever Impact slogan I can throw in there.
All the cliches.
I really
Right.
think Scott D'Amore actually set out to what he wanted to do as well. I think he wanted the TNA name back just to bring fans back to the company because it's essentially still Impact Wrestling. It's essentially still Scott D'Amore's vision of Impact Wrestling and TNA. He just needed that name back to bring these fans back to what they know and love of the original core TNA wrestling.
Right. And we got
If there's
Kushida coming to the ring. Sorry,
I
Nick.
was just going to say, if there's one thing that millennials and the such like, it's nostalgia. So 100% exactly. Just tug at the heartstrings, bring back the nostalgia that they grew up with, and you'll get them fucking coming back.
That is the truth. We love a little bit of nostalgia. So
Right.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna click on. I guess Double X is coming on, unless it's showing up differently. I forgot it was Thursday. Recovering from surgery these days. Blend. Thanks for being the MVPs. Well, thank you for showing in the chat here.
Yeah, thank you for making us part of your recovery. And anytime you need a friend to come hang out with and talk some wrestling, there's plenty of them hanging around here. So
we are.
yeah, I
always
hope you're
for you.
doing well.
Yeah, you're the MVP more than we are, my guy.
So it looks like we're kicking off with the X Division Scramble, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, because we've got Kushida in the ring. I'm getting Trey Miguel coming out right now.
I'm interested to see how the production looks as we continue to go on in the next couple of weeks. With the place they're at now, the production is awesome. But I just want to see how it goes as they progress to different arenas in different cities.
That's a really valid point of how they go. Like, this is still just a taping from the pay-per-view, so they're already set up for a pay-per-view versus when they're doing a weekly show.
Yeah, but Anthony stole the thought right out of the top of my head as far as visually, it's vibrant. Like it's already just, if you take a still frame of what you're getting right now and what you were getting a month ago, it is much cleaner. And maybe I'm just overhyping it, or my screen's really clean today.
If you watched any bit of Impact Wrestling, at times it felt like it was dark. Especially if you watched Emergence last year, the monthly special. Emergence was like, what are we doing? Like, all you can see are the wrestlers. That was basically it. So yeah, they've done a lot better so far.
No, you're not wrong. Yeah, but it definitely, it's a nice feel. Mike Bailey.
Right. WCW name needs to come back. No, it doesn't.
That's Tony's next marketing move. Good transition, AEW to, we're bringing it back. WCW.
It'd have to be like WCCW or some shit, because WWE, I believe, owns the trademark. But yeah, well, I mean, he's just done it just with different letters. So,
Vikingo, the man that feels like he's on every show.
He was literally on Ring of Honor earlier tonight.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
He's another Mike Bailey who likes to wrestle like 1,700 matches in a year. So
Mike Bailey, the Kevin Hart of wrestling, just takes all the bookings. I'll be in any movie, any show, I'll be there.
I'll do a birthday, a bar mitzvah, quinceañera, everything.
Jake something being involved in the X Division gives me that Moose vibes when Moose was down there.
Most definitely. I actually just watched the match. I'm actually going through the entire year of Impact Wrestling in 2022. Yeah. I think I just hit Under Siege, but I just saw a match with Jake something and Trey Miguel. It was for the X Division title. And the stuff I saw this man doing, Jake something, I'm like, dude, you need a title already.
Is this an over the top thing? Because Trey Miguel just got chucked.
I hope not, because this man, if that is, that's a quick ass elimination.
As far as I know, I don't think it's an elimination match.
It's just like Royal Rumble up in the house, and Jake just took him and threw him.
Is it hard though to push somebody when their name is Jake something?
No,
respectfully.
I mean, I can see both ways.
Is the head of our, company right now. He's the face of our franchise. Is something.
I think if you say the whole name, it's okay. But if you say just something, like something is the TNA World Champion. What? Like, what's that?
So that's what I'm saying. Maybe you can tweak a thing or two here. It needs.
Are you suggesting his name should be something else?
Yes, I am 100% suggesting his name should be something else. Captain Dad Joke over there.
It's funny because I waited for it. I was like, yes.
I 100% volley for serve with a fucking dad joke.
As everybody topes, and now Vikingo and Speedball going to the top. Now going to the bottom.
I was gonna say, just barely, just grab his helmet and just put it on your head, and then just like do a flip. It's right there behind you. Just grab it. But folks, if you want to give us your predictions right now in the match, it is Trey Miguel, Laredo Kid, Kushida, Mike Bailey, Jake something, and Vikingo. So if you want to give us your prediction on who you think wins this match, and no spoilers, don't think that, we don't know they're out there, so all of a sudden you're going to act like you look like a fucking genius.
If you want to pretend that you're perfect, go ahead, but no spoilers.
Just know that only you won that accomplishment, and only you are proud of you with that, so you can have that.
Yeah. You got to look yourself in the mirror tomorrow.
Right, you got to look yourself in the mirror. I cheated them in the prediction.
Is this match for like a future X Division title shot? Because I didn't see anything like that.
No, it was. I originally, when I saw like the graphic, I thought they were just telling us who was in the X Division. Like, I didn't even really know. They're gonna have a match. Okay, great. But there was nothing really around it. So yeah, I think it's just a match to show off the X Division, maybe.
Okay.
But again, you have to take into consideration this is their kind of we're back show. So this is a lot of fans who haven't probably, like Anthony's even talked about, haven't watched TNA since it was TNA. So who the fuck is that guy? What are they doing here? Oh, I remember the X Division because that used to always be the best matches. Yeah. So who the hell is in it now?
Back?
Right.
And again, I think there's a lot of fans out there, and I find the AEW, like the mini AEW Impact War, like between the fandom of like the AEW fans who very much foo-foo. TNA is just indie shit. You're like, wait a minute. Like, you look at the match we're getting right now. This could have been on Dynamite last night, no problem.
Hot meat kettle, then. Sorry, not sorry, but that's the easiest way to just end that fucking argument. Pot meat kettle, then.
Good match, good pace.
Absolutely. Right now, Vikingo up in the top turnbuckle. Jake's that was almost really bad.
It was almost really bad.
So for those not watching, Vikingo tried to do his like inside out Hurricane Rana kind of move or spin. Jake something was supposed to catch him to a power bomb. That kind of fell through. So then they rolled through to a Hurricane Rana and then continued to roll through like a roly-poly-oly and then just dumped Vikingo on the outside here.
Man, if this is the match to show off what the X Division can do, they're definitely doing it.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, and again, I feel like oddly enough, because I'm one of those fans. I watched TNA when it was TNA, and then when it kind of became Impact and Anthem and everything like that is when I fell off. So it's interesting because I feel like you got a different X Division than the X Division I got, but they were both great.
No, you're exactly right. And it's not like I didn't watch a lot of the old TNA. Because I was a kid, I didn't know what channel it came on. I knew Raw was a staple on USA. And but that was about it. So when I saw it, I would watch just a tad bit. But you're right. Both divisions, versions of the X divisions were great. So which one you saw, you got a taste of something.
Right. As Jake something picks up the win. So I guess you and KJ are right with something's getting over. Something's on the rise in TNA. Something's moving up on the boards here.
I mean, that match was insane, though. It went so fast, I guess, because the name is Total Nonstop Action.
Yeah, well, that's always the thing with the X Division is it's half the time it's a blink and you miss it. And that's where a lot of the stars that TNA and Impact have built their brand on kind of all came out of, like AJ Styles, Eric Young, Kazarian, all were guys that were prominent features in the X Division. Chris
Exactly.
Sabin, Alex Shelley.
I think, did you mention Christopher Daniels? He,
That's a great shout as well. Jay Lethal.
Oh,
So
we
I've
got
got
Will Ospreay on the screen now.
you know what, bruv? Ricky 245. Anthony, when do you think Leon Slater will make his X Division debut?
Interesting question. I think he's going to be up in the next couple of weeks. It won't be I'm not going to say it won't be. I don't see it happening at this set of tapings, the ones that are happening tomorrow and Saturday, but I do see it potentially happening after No Surrender, which would be the tapings that Saturday after the Friday monthly special. So I do see it happening then. I think they're going to slowly start introducing new people over the next month and a half.
Fair enough. Well, there's been talks that they're going to add a bunch of either like debuts or new signees within that kind of time frame. And I think a guy like Leon Slater, we were just talking about the X Division. He's a guy that could, start off, and by the end of 2024, he's the head of that X Division.
Yeah, agreed. I think they just need this X Division to have Chris Sabin for a couple of more months. That's why he retained at Hard to Kill, and then they're fully going to start pushing other people into that top spot, into that title picture in the X Division.
Absolutely. Sorry, double X, double N. I can't make out your name. Someday somebody is gonna be something that you get a star, because that's just great alliteration right there. That is just fantastic. We're getting okay. So tell me, as we just got the Ash by Elegance, which looks like it's going to be for a cologne or a perfume that smells like ass. But tell me that isn't Timu Tony Storm right there. Like, I know everybody's tried to say, oh, well, it's just a haircut. It's just a look. It's just an outfit. We haven't seen anything yet. That's just that's Tony Storm in color.
I want to see more. I want to see more before I give like a complete kind of feel.
So go back, rewind that. It's on YouTube. You can just hit the rewind, go back and rewatch it.
I want to see how she presents herself in the ring. Like, her entrance, what all that, how she talks, because Tony Storm.
So you can confirm it more.
I don't know. I want to give it a little bit more time. I like Dana Brooke. I really do. So I just kind of want to give it some more time before I kind of make a decision if it is Timu Tony Storm.
And I liked it. I feel weird about this because I liked Dana Brooke as Dana Brooke. Like, I think if Dana Brooke, when she was in NXT, granted what she was in NXT wasn't great, but if she would have stayed with that, just, the flex of like just blonde Raquel Rodriguez, basically, and done that, I think that would be a nice addition versus I just don't get the whole Ash by Elegance, and it literally the vignette, the video package that they showed, it looked like a goddamn perfume commercial or something, like Jaguar or something. But Sex Panther, they say 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. But yeah, it's just, why go that route with it? I feel like that's just more of, you saw something that was working well, so let's just do something close to that.
I think and I agree with you a little bit, because I did like the Dana Brooke whole kind of style and character that she brought, but I also think it was not tainted by the WWE. I think it was tainted by the fans, because the fans just hate that woman for breathing at this point. And I think she just wanted to kind of do something completely, I'm not gonna say new yet, because everybody's already saying
damn sure ain't new.
I think she will do something completely different to see how well it works for her.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, we'll see how she goes in the ring, and I guess that's really the ultimate nail in the coffin there. If she comes out and it's the same kind of thing, and who knows? I mean, maybe it still just kind of works in TNA. I keep wanting to call it Impact because they do, the weekly show is getting called Impact, so it's making it confusing. But maybe it just kind of works within that knockouts division. And even despite the fans that see the correlation and see everything like that, it still gets over and it still just kind of takes its own natural course.
No, agree. I think it'll work very well in the knockouts division. I just don't want to say it's like a Tony Storm ripoff or different version just yet. I just kind of want to see where it goes, and then from there, if we're here in March, and I'm like, okay, Nick, you're right. It's definitely Team Tony Storm.
Right.
Then fair enough. But right now, I kind of just want to give it a couple of more weeks to see actually what she does. She is supposed to make her debut this weekend in the taping. So whenever that officially airs.
Well, and that's a whole other question that we could get into, as we've got Zaya Brookside versus Tasha Steelz. So I'll try and say at least this one last thing quick before, because I know you're excited about this match. But so Dana Brooke is a walking perfume ad. Nice. Well, it so far it seems that way, but I guess we're putting a linchpin in it and seeing what she actually can do in the ring. But so who you taking, sir?
I'm gonna take Zaya Brookside. As much as I like Tasha Steelz, I'm gonna take Zaya Brookside here.
I respectfully have not heard a ton about Zaya before when she showed up on Hard to Kill. Do you have any information that I feel I need to know or anything like that?
No, because I don't know much about her either. But really, in this match, I'm taking her because I think they want to kind of show what she can do in the ring. I think Tasha Steelz is a great person to put people over, being how long she's been with TNA. So that's why I'm kind of taking Zaya Brookside, but I know nothing of her.
Fair enough. So then I'll take Tasha Steelz just on. I feel they'll do, like you said, they'll show that she can go in the ring, but it'll still be, hey, Rook, you still got some, stuff to learn here going against Tasha Steelz, the veteran in the locker room. I believe former Knockouts Women Champion as well.
Yes, she's definitely a former Knockouts champion. And what is interesting is, I'm not sure if anybody saw it today, but they're running this match again at the tapings this weekend. So I'm like, are we starting a mini feud with these two, a side feud to head into No Surrender? I don't know.
Well, you got Kyle agreeing with you, Damien agreeing with you, Khan's WCW World Classy Wrestling. No, I saw someone today that had a picture of Tony Khan, and underneath it said, "I'm not here to make money. I'm here to make friends." So I feel like that's a little fitting. But Larry's out here saying, "I want the Cheez It belt." But so I'll ask this: how do you feel that they're doing tapings instead of it being a actual live event? For the most part, that it seems to be a lot going back to a lot of, we'll tape like 3 shows in a pocket here.
For right now, I think it's okay. But I think if they continue to grow that fan base, those spoilers are going to be easily accessible, and there's going to be no choice but to go live.
Which would you say is the bigger thing, or that they should focus on, or would be the biggest step for them? Is the bigger audience and crowd? As I've got Tasha Steelz twerking. Moment of silence for the twerk. But them getting having shows in bigger venues, or them going live, even if it is still on YouTube, what have you. If they go back to even like when they had a Twitch channel and everything like that.
I would say probably going live. I think that's more important, only because going back to that spoiler thing. I mean, I had to fight to not see spoilers for the tapings this past weekend. I was trying my best not to look at anything, and luckily I didn't see anything to be spoiled. But I think if Scott D'Amore is truly looking to grow TNA, when he gets that fan base, if he can get that fan base back to what it was back in its heyday, you have no choice at that point to go live. I don't know how they're going to do it. I know that's going to cost a lot more money on Anthem's end, but they're going to have to do it.
Well, I think I posed this question before you popped on, so I'll ask it probably if we get to any sort of a blow here in a quick second. But yeah, I think TNA right now is getting close to that point when NXT kind of went, when it was still that black and gold, and it went from when it actually started to go at like AEW and everything, when they actually moved it to a weekly show, and it really kind of became more of established as its own third brand and everything. I feel like TNA is kind of on that line there.
No, it definitely is. It's definitely on that spectrum where it can draw in a big crowd like NXT at like a takeover, or their specials. Oh, Brookside won.
Did you get already ahead of me somehow?
With a creative type pin there.
Oh, that's a do something strange for a little piece of change pin. That was literally like it's a weird bridging. It's like a bridge on a bridge pin.
Yeah, wow.
But so Zaya Brookside picks up the win. As shout out Jim saying, just getting off work, figured I would pop in and see what you guys talking about. Talking about TNA.
Talking about TNA. I forgot where I left off with your question.
No, you're good. You're fine. Trust me. It happens all the time. But so up next, we're getting EY Eric Young with his lovely MF Doom cosplay, and Kazarian taking on the Grizzly Young Veterans.
Which I heard. Now, this was the only spoiler that I heard. I'm not going to give it away. I heard something happened between Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian. So I'm kind of interested to see what happened and where this goes, if what I heard was true.
Fair enough. As we're getting a replay of the top dollar, flop dollar segment. And this is still halfway, respectfully, one of my highlights of the show, because it was just so hilarious to me.
This was hilarious, and I think a lot of people got to see Joe Hendry's creative side with this at Hard to Kill.
But it's so interesting because Joe Hendry is the guy that can do this in, the button-up polo shirt with the blonde hair, but he can also still be that guy that's a tactician, that's a technical wrestler that's had matches with Kurt Angle. So he's 100%. He's that weird jack of all trades, but just kind of seems to go with the comedy thing.
Exactly. He's like that all-around entertainer / performer type dude. So he's the right person for this.
Well, absolutely. Larry saying, when I used to live in Greenwich, Connecticut, I lived on Brookside Drive. That's your tie-in. That's why you picked her. That's where you go in here.
Now,
yes, we got the cheesy belt. And I find it interesting that they not only mentioned the flop spot, but then doubled down on it. Like they're really going hard in the paint on this man.
Yeah, he really suckered in on that flop dollar. Just knowing that he actually kind of allowed that to happen on TNA, because there is a backstory to that. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but after he had that moment in the ring where he tried to jump over the ropes, he actually went to go see a doctor and he was diagnosed with diabetes. So actually that spot of him trying to flip over the ropes saved his life because he found out something was wrong. But I'm surprised he allowed that to continue in TNA.
I was gonna say, you're about to make me feel like the world's biggest asshole.
Oh no, because I mean, he even jokes he even jokes about it still on Twitter. So,
well, so that's the thing is, oddly enough, as much as everyone clowns AJ Francis and everything like that, has he not still managed to make his way in pro wrestling and everything? Like, there's some people that are really big fans of him. There's some people that feel a certain way about him. But yeah, he's 100% at least. He showed up in GCW. He's still getting work in TNA now. He signed with TNA outside of being in WWE. So man's got something there.
Yeah, he's still making a name for himself. I honestly, and this comes with the same thing with Dana Brooke. I don't see why people hate him. I mean, and he's a really good heel. Like this was the at Hard to Kill was the first time I really seen him dig his his talents in being a heel, and I'm like, I was kind of shocked. So he's making a name for himself outside of WWE. A lot of people don't need that that WWE train, that WWE money to make a name for themselves.
Well, I think Matt Cardona is a perfect example with that.
Mhm.
Ziggler is probably about to prove himself a perfect example of that. I think with AJ Francis, it's more of he was initially supposed to be a babyface, but constantly acting like a heel on Twitter.
Exactly.
Like I can't knock the man's hustle. I'm not a fan of him in ring, but I can't knock the man's hustle.
Right. I think that's the thing right there. You might not be a fan of one thing with him, but you definitely got to respect as, something he's trying to push for himself,
Like I said, I've joked about the man and everything. I'll fully admit that, and I'd admit it to his face even. But I'd still like to have a sit there and have a conversation with him because I didn't know the whole thing, like you said there about to where that actually helped him, figure out stuff with himself medically and everything like that. And I know he's one of the many guys that's come from an NFL background. Like there's a lot there. I think at times just his online persona kind of turns people away from it more than, but then again, if he's supposed to be heel, now he's supposed to be heel, so now he can lean into it. Before he was supposed to be the babyface out there with Hit Row and Swerve and everything, and then he just kind of looked like the asshole of the group.
No, you're exactly right. And that's sometimes when character bleeds into reality, you do kind of take that stance of not being liked by a lot of people. And I think that's kind of what happened with him just a tad bit.
Right. As I've got Kazarian coming out right now, so we're getting the start of the match with GYV versus the TNA originals here.
Yep, Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian. I think this is going to be a great match too. I'm glad they're showing a little bit of the TNA originals as they transition back to TNA wrestling too.
Well, yeah, 100%. It's the nostalgia play. It's incorporating the old with the new. It's that blending. So if you're starting anything up, it's even to an extent, it's a bit of what AEW did when they first started off. If you had independent talent, but you also had established talent like Chris Jericho, who now, if you want to listen to his match, you might as well just put it on mute because they do it for you. But you have that established talent that callback, like we've talked about it, of former TNA fans that are tuning in now because TNA's back. Oh, I remember Eric Young. Oh, I remember Kazarian. Oh,
Right.
They're in this match with these guys. Well, I think I saw those guys in WWE too. So this might be a good fucking match. Let me see this.
Exactly. I think what you just said is all summed up and wrapped up in what Scott D'Amore wants to do with TNA.
Scott, our socials are down below and everything like that. I know Anthony will sign that shit real quick. He won't even
Exactly.
sign that shit. But reach out. I mean, Christ, KJ's over in Canada, so you don't even have to pay him the inflation rate or anything like that. So he's good. So we'll help you on the creative team. Grizzly Young Veterans for the win. Yes. So who are you taking, sir?
I'm gonna take the Grizzly Young Vets. I should have took them at Hard to Kill, even though they didn't win. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Grizzly Young Vets here.
The Grizzly Young Vets, the Grizzly Adams, the Grizzly Young Vets.
Shoot, I made a video about TNA today, and I called them the Grizzly Young Bucks. I don't know where my mind was.
No, that's fine. Trust me, we've got plenty of nicknames that teams don't even know we got nicknames for them. They're exclusive to the channel, like Private Party, Social Gathering, or no, Idris and Anofe, or Idris and Malik Blade on NXT are Social Gathering because they're the discount Private Party. But yeah, so I'll take GYV 100%. Now, I'm interested to see if Grizzly Young Vets and a guy like Hammerstone and all of these guys that showed up on Hard to Kill, if this is just appearance based, if this is just we're here for a couple of shows, we do, 3 or 4 dates and then we bounce, or if they're actually going to sign with TNA.
Well, and that's what I was actually going to head to next with Jay West down here. His comment about Hammerstone. Hammerstone has kind of actually been teasing it a bit on social media the past couple of days of him actually signing with TNA. So I would like some of these guys to sign, especially the Grizzly Young Vets, if we're going to kind of rework the tag team division and get more tag teams involved. I think there'll be a great addition to the tag team division. And Hammerstone, I mean, just look at what he did at Hard to Kill. He needs to sign. I mean, I want to see Hammerstone and Moose like yesterday. So,
Oh, yeah, I think they'd both be fantastic additions. And I know me and KJ have touched on this, and I'm hoping he'll come back. But how do you feel that most of the big kind of signings and debuts and everything, like we even touched on Mustafa Ali earlier and everything, Nick Nemeth, etc., most, if not all, have been outside of the major two, outside of WWE and AEW recently. I think that's a good statement for the state of pro wrestling. We're getting signings outside of the big two that are big names. We're getting wrestling references at the Emmys. We're getting interview clips of wrestlers getting, called out for wrestling, I guess not being on the up and up, to not use the F word, on interviews and everything. So
I
pro
think
wrestling's really gone crazy here.
Yeah, I think pro wrestling, and I think we've been using this phrase for the past year, that pro wrestling is the best it's ever been. But truly, I think, and I'm not saying this because I love TNA, but I think at Hard to Kill, it was like pro wrestling is back for everyone. And it was like you're getting a little bit of WWE, you're getting a little bit of AEW, even though I'm kind of on the outs with AEW right now. But you're getting TNA, you're getting old fans back to TNA, you're getting old fans back to WWE, just with the mention of The Rock, or just with the mention of what the Bloodline has done in over the past year and a half. And then with AEW, you're getting new fans, and you're getting those hardcore fans, sometimes a bit too hardcore, to come back to wrestling a little bit. So I think if you're a wrestling fan, you're getting a little bit of everything at the moment, and you just kind of have to tune in and watch.
Oh, absolutely. I fully agree. Instead of the Attitude Era, and we're now getting the internet era.
Right.
And I really agree with your sentiment there with like Hard to Kill. It felt like with even the WWE loyalists, the AEW loyalists, the fucking deathmatch psychopaths and everything, it became a little bit of friends, countrymen, lend me your ears. And everybody kind of just put down their arms here and just enjoyed Hard to Kill because it was a good show, and everybody kind of was excited for TNA to come back. I've always joked that Impact TNA's the Harry Potter of pro wrestling. It's the boy who lived. It's should have died 3 times and lived 4. So I think it was really a show that everybody, wherever you lie in, I guess, this weird tribalism internet world, you just enjoyed the fucking show, and you just enjoyed some pro wrestling, and everybody had 4 hours to just kind of shut the fuck up and enjoy wrestling.
No, agreed. And just being a part of TikTok and being like one of the only, it was literally during the Impact era, it was literally like 3 of us on TikTok that constantly talked about Impact Wrestling. And just at Hard to Kill, scrolling through the TikTok feed, and you're just seeing content creator after content creator talk about TNA and talk about Hard to Kill. I'm like, this is what Scott D'Amore wanted. This is what the fans wanted. So I think it's just great. I really think it's just great for everybody, as wrestling fans as a whole. Like right now is the moment. You got to grasp to something. Even though I'm not grasping the AEW, I'm trying, but it's not there. So
don't worry, we can always grasp the KJ over there.
Baby, come back. I heard
you. Can blame it.
I was enjoying the show. What can I say? But no, I completely agree with Anthony. Like, even some of the big streamers that are known for doing live streams of AEW, WWE, you know, for the first time that I could recall since I've started doing this, I'm watching them do live streams of TNA wrestling or Impact Wrestling. And I'm like, really? You guys actually went live with this? Like, that, you know, we were one of the only channels that did live streams of Impact.
I feel like we might have been the only channel, unless you had
It
like
was
the
us
true,
and
like,
TNA competing for viewers.
right?
unless you're like the TNA, like hardcore TNA faithfuls, where you'll see their streams on YouTube, but since
Yeah.
it wasn't as popular, they would have like 10 or 15 people watching them. But other than us and a few of those, the big creators like you're talking about, KJ,
Yeah.
were not
Folks,
doing these streams.
So you heard
at
it
all.
here first. This was the start of the Thursday night wars between us and
Right.
TNA.
Yeah, now there's competition. We got to pick our game up because
Right.
we
Well,
could kind of
speaking
get away
of-
with it.
Speaking of picking our game up, at least since I've been on the channel, this is our first stream over 50 with Impact. So, you know,
Hey, I joke and I said it and it came true. It's the chapeau that runs the show here. So
There you go. There you go. No, the channel's definitely cooking and it's nice. Yeah, like our Thursday nights were hit and miss, you know, even going back a year ago. You know, we were, you know, you said it. We were lucky to have like 12 like diehards of like, what's going on the show tonight? And we're like hanging out with a few people.
Impact's still a thing.
Yeah.
exactly.
Half the comments were like, this is shit. Why are you watching it? You're like, wait, why are you here?
No one watches TNA. Now everyone watches TNA.
Now everybody watches TNA.
So yeah, definitely TNA moving the needle in the market here.
I just, you know, on the negative side of TNA today, I literally just had to block somebody because if I hear somebody say something about TNA needs a TV deal again, I'm gonna scream. That's just.
Actually, that reminds me back to that. My brain's like a fucking lazy Susan. It'll come back at some point. But that reminds me to a point that I brought up before you were on, Anthony. So I predicted that by the end of 2024, that TNA would be talking on a TV deal beyond an access or have something lined up, especially because now they're working with Endeavor. They're involved. They're in bed with a lot of big time players and they're getting a lot of eyes. I think that's going to be their next big step on top of, we talked about lives and arenas, but a TV deal where they're easily accessible is the next evolution.
Oh no, definitely agree there. I think a TV deal is necessary for TNA and its return. I just think a lot of the fans today, especially the negative side, I'm not going to watch it unless it gets a TV deal. That's dumb. That's the feeling I get behind it. But TNA having a TV deal as a whole, I think that's great. Go for it. You know, after you kind of make a name for yourself again and get big. But some of the fans today is like, I'm not going to watch it unless they have a TV deal. Okay, well, you're not, unless you don't watch it now and promote it, you're not going to get a TV deal. That's just kind of how I feel.
Yeah, you can't put the cart before the horse. And yeah, it's this level of validation of like, okay, you've landed, right? Like,
right.
And yeah, it seems like there is a collection like, okay, so it gets a TV deal. You just jump on the bandwagon. You're like, yeah, TNA. Like, where were you on the dark days?
Like, exactly. When we were on YouTube and on Access TV, where were you? Oh, you didn't want to watch it because they didn't have a TV deal. I mean, that's what kind of bothers me now with the fan base.
Right. But this match is rolling along, Anthony, and it's been a hell of a match. Like you predicted it was going to be a good one. It is not disappointing.
It hasn't at all.
Oh, Kazarian punched EY.
And I don't know, was that like a double code breaker that the Grizzly Young Vets that just did? But wow. This is why I want these guys to sign with TNA.
No, they're talented. I thought when Vince moved away from NXT that, you know, they would get a little more love. They'd get something, you know, they get pulled away from Gacy and they, you know, go back to being highlighted. So them landing in TNA, especially TNA could use some tag team love. I think this is great for them.
Weren't they a part of the schism or something?
Oh, sorry, it makes me chuckle when people say it. Yeah, no, definitely part of schism. And Joe Gacy. So yeah, it wasn't good. You know, the funny contacts, the powdered makeup, no
Okay.
hair.
Oh, it looks like
Oh,
things might be breaking down between Eric Young and Kazarian.
yeah. Yeah, Kazarian lands a right hand on Eric's jaw, and they're not happy with each other at all.
Oh,
Eric's not happy.
ooh,
Eric's better though when he's evil. I'll admit it.
he is, but it looks like it's Frankie Kazarian the one that's turning heel. Oh,
What do I know? Kazarian going heel. I'm curious because he's always so
wow.
generic, right? Like he's like generic wrestler 12.
As my coworker would say, wrestler number 1.
And we got asshole chance in the. I almost want to call it the impact zone. Damn it.
It definitely is the impact zone, though. Man, I'm
Right.
kind of shocked here. I really
Yeah,
thought it
no,
was going to be Eric Young.
yeah, because Eric Young plays such a good heel. But yeah, Kazarian. Why are you mad? You punched him in the face. This doesn't seem fair at all.
Oh, fade to black. Now, I hope if they're going to go in the feud with this, that it's better than anything we saw with Eddie Edwards and Kazarian last year. Please
That,
don't do a repeat of that.
that dragged on. That was like fucking an extended stay at your grandma's house of like, all right, can we go now?
I think honestly, I think it was like 5 months. It felt like it was like 5 months.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So Frankie Kazarian taking out EY.
This is really going to be interesting.
Good. Oh, he's getting a ton of heat.
Yeah, they're definitely hating him in the crowd.
Breaking news: Okada is leaving New Japan Wrestling per New Japan. Yeah, this has been long rumored, and apparently there's a little bit of a bidding situation with Okada. Again, it's the new way of 2024 of he could go to WWE and work with Shinsuke. He could go to AEW because of the history there. He could go to TNA. I mean, he's going to kiss the logo here tonight, apparently. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of options for Okada coming up. And TNA, I don't think that's a bad choice for him, you know.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and thank you so much for the super chat, Scott. We greatly appreciate it. But up next, Nick Nemeth. I still struggle not to call him Dolph. I swear to God.
He's always gonna be Dolph. He's always gonna be Dolph.
Right.
But I also said the same thing about Naomi when she left WWE. Like she's always going to be Naomi, and then she went to TNA and exploded. So I'm like, never mind. You're gonna be Trinity from now on.
I like Trinity better, so I've been calling her Trinity almost naturally. Sasha, I still call Sasha.
No, agreed. I don't really like the Mercedes, even though that's her real name. I don't really like Mercedes. I think it's Sasha, but I think, like you said, I think Trinity sounds better. And I'm kind of hoping WWE just allows her to go in as Trinity and not Naomi. I kind of want that if she does go back.
Yeah, I wonder if they could do that with a few of the talent. And we've, we've seen them try it before, but they're very tight with their licensing. But formerly known as Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder, Naomi, that kind of idea. I think it works for me.
No, honestly, especially speaking on Trinity's behalf, I think she's made so much of a name for herself more as Trinity than she did Naomi.
Yeah.
Being on all these top 10 lists and voted this and voted that. I'm like, Naomi was never on these lists. So going back to WWE, if you truly want to capitalize on what she has done in the past year, you got to just let her keep Trinity. I that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I kind of echo that sentiment. It's hard to argue with that. I mean, she's done extremely well as Trinity, and that Fatu name has some weight in this industry.
Exactly. Now you can add the Fatu on it. That would be cool. Trinity Fatu. Yeah.
Right. Is there any matches you want to see with Hammerstone? All of them.
I know the first one that comes to my mind is Hammerstone and Moose. Like, give it to me. Like, that should have happened at Hard to Kill.
Yeah, Hammerstone Moose, Hammerstone Macklin. You can run Josh a couple more times. That was plenty awesome.
Jake something in Hammerstone.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of people chiming in on the Okada. So, folks, let me know in the chat. We got over 50 people hanging out with us tonight. Who, any idea, any speculation, or any desire landing spot for Okada?
Looks like we got Nick Nemeth coming out to the ring now.
Most wanted. The crowd's with them, man.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, looks like from what everybody is saying in the chat, Okada is leaving January 31st.
There you go.
That's what it looks like on Twitter. So
yeah, maybe he didn't want Tanahashi to be his boss. He's like, wait, who's in charge? I'm out. I used to beat that guy up.
Right.
I'm out. What if Nakamura is trying to finish his story and Okada cost him at the Rumble? I saw internet speculation of the idea of Okada joining Nakamura one way or the other, either as a foe or a friend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now I don't know much about like Nakamura outside of WWE. Were they?
Yeah,
there's history there between the two.
Absolutely, there's definitely history there. Foes, friends. They were probably better foes than friends, but okay. Yeah, that's why a lot of people speculated could Okada show up and get in an angle real quick with Nakamura and give him that focus.
Okada and Nakamura at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that would be interesting to see.
Right. Okay. TNA.
I wonder what he's gonna say, Nick. This is gonna be interesting.
There you go. Easy bakes with you on Okada and Nakamura.
I think that would be great to see. Yeah. I really do.
Dave Meltzer reports that. Are you being funny? I don't know if that's a serious comment, Damien. I don't know if you're playing with my emotions.
I'm trying to look now.
Maybe did he take a couple bookings? Even then, I'm a little surprised. Never lost. You still got it. And he, Dolph points out, I never lost it. I like that. Do you like the fact that he is talking about the emotion and like feeling intimidated? Like this isn't like I'm the superstar from the big company that I'm gracing y'all with my presence, but instead it's like this is a big deal for me.
Yeah, agreed. I like that, and he's given this a similar kind of vibe to what Trinity gave when she came, because when she kind of said the same thing, like she was nervous, she had to prove herself again, kind of had to work her way up to the top, and she did that. So he's given those similar type feels here.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah, TNA World Champion. Nick and I were talking about this earlier. I know you touched on it when you came here, but yeah, TNA's history of like, you're a big name, you're buzzing, you're getting us a lot of interest. We're putting you right next to our champion. Win or lose, you're going to do that.
And if it doesn't, I'm Honestly, if it doesn't happen at Rebellion, I'm gonna be shocked because it's like this is TNA's MO. Like you come in here, you get the title. That's kind of how it is. You know,
Right?
might be 2 or 3 months where they build the story, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um, so I think Rebellion, you can call Nick Nemeth new TNA World Champ.
I like that prediction. We'll have to follow up on it. Speaking of following up on it, I put 5 on it.
I got 5 on it. Well, you're talking about Knicks, so I feel like speaking of putting 5 on it, my God, that was a fucking great fucking segue that I did not even realize.
What I do?
It's got layers.
Hammerstone versus Alexander was the match on the best match on the pay-per-view. I thought it arguably was. There was a bunch of really good ones.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to choose. I mean, Hammerstone and Alexander was good. Moose and Shelley was good. Trinity and Jordan Grace
That was a
was
really good match.
good. I mean, it's definitely difficult to tell.
Oh,
Who was that? Steve Macklin?
Macklin going to have a
out
convo. Sorry, Nick.
No, I was literally just saying Macklin coming out to, confront good old Zigglypuff out here.
What do you think about Okada officially leaving New Japan, which is sending ripples?
But have we even fully confirmed that he's quote unquote officially leaving, or is it just that he's a free agent and he could still be in discussions with them? Like, there's nothing saying, never say never. There's nothing saying he could re-sign. Granted, I like Macklin's shirt here, like a motherfucker with front face enemy, or target. But I know you guys talked about the idea of Okada and Nakamura being a team or pairing up or anything like that in WWE. Nakamura has very much been the kind of one trying to bring Okada over. Well, see, they just let me serve fucking 9 months out of the year and I just show up and do some things and all of that.
Pretty sweet gig.
Yeah, but if Okada went over there, it would be great. It would be huge for about a month or two. And then I wonder, does he go the way that Nakamura did when he was in NXT and everything like that? Like, how much does we got Okada nostalgia or, gimmick kind of run off?
No, I agree with you. I don't think it's like, I think from his standpoint, it is that idea of like big paycheck. I get to a more comfortable style at this point in his career. He doesn't need to be having those, those drag out matches. And then again, for the fan base, it'll all depend on how you book it, how you roll it.
Now, granted, he's also, I've seen, sat there and trademarked or tried to trademark to himself of Rainmaker and all of that. So he could do that. Just it's either in him investing in himself so when WWE uses it, so now you got to pay me for it, or he's gearing up to go to like an AW or TNA or anything to where now when they make merch, I make money.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that would be the bottom line for him. I think there's, that's partly why I wondered if AEW had an edge on him with some of the history there. But again, it's all the residual.
I would love to see WWE be that shark and pulls Okada. Like I think a lot of people expect Okada to potentially go to AEW, but let WWE just come in there and snag him. Triple H is in charge. Let Triple H snag this man and run with him. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, but I also, with that, I don't want people there in when we're this time next year and it's Nakamura and Okada in a tag team and they're going after the tag team titles. They're not even tag team champions and everything like that. I don't want to hear people bitch of, oh my God, they wasted Okada, they're misusing him, everything like that. Like, people, I think, if you anticipate you sign Okada, that he's just going to continue being top of the card main event nonstop, like he always was in New Japan. Yeah, I think anywhere he goes, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah. Oh, things getting heated. Macklin and
got heated real quick.
All right.
Oh, they're definitely going Steve Macklin versus Nick Nemeth at No Surrender. Please let it happen at No Surrender.
Yeah. I'm in.
But
going back to what Nick said though, it's very hard to please this fan base. I mean, it's very, very hard.
Fickle
I
bitches.
mean, I don't know. Coming from somebody who is watching Jay White's run in TNA in 2022, being a part of the Bullet Club versus Honor No More and seeing what he was doing there, and then coming back to 2024 and the end of 2023 and seeing where he is now with AEW, I can understand why it's very, very hard to please the fan base, because I'm like, what are you doing with Jay White? He's main event material and he's regulated to these, I'm sorry, god awful segments and matches. And then I literally seen his run in Impact, and I wanted to put on Twitter, but I was probably going to start a riot like Jay White Impact greater than Jay White AEW.
Do it.
Factual.
Do it. I'll be the devil on the shoulder. Do it.
He had such a good Impact run in, and him with the ABC and the Bullet Club in Impact was great. And they treated like kind of like Dolph. They don't fuck around. You're a star. We signed you. We're going to put you at the top of our card.
Exactly. And it feels like Tony Khan just has an issue with pulling the trigger on some of the big guys you're signing.
But that's again, though, he's got an overfilled cabinet, though. That's the thing is he signed people and didn't have a spot for them. You and I, KJ, specifically have talked about this recently on Tuesdays, though, of bringing people up from NXT to the main roster, because why would I bring them up when I have nothing to fucking put them in?
Yeah, and I think it goes deeper than that, though. I do think that Tony Khan is over aware of the egos and the personalities that he's surrounded himself with. That if you bring in a Jay White and he goes to the main event, who gets pissy pants about it? If you bring in another person, I do think that's a factor of like, and even with the hardcore fan base of, oh, you're not giving the AEW guys any time. So they have to do this, like, everyone's got to spend time in the waiting room, like they're at the fucking doctor's office before they get called in.
But I guess going back to my original point, so then when that happens to Okada, like, I don't want to hear anyone getting mad or anything, because to me, still at the end of the day, your favorite can't always be in the main event. The main event is there for a fucking reason. Not everybody wants their guy to be at the top. You can't have Okada, Nakamura, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and this guy, that guy, and this guy named Steve all in the main event all the time.
Yeah, but I like the idea, and we talked about this in the past, and you and I have talked about it on Raw, especially of making every part of that show mean something, right? Mick Foley or Triple H or the guys that were big stars, main event stars, that were now in your second hour, now finishing up on your first hour, everything meant something. You wanted to see all of it. You were spoiled. Be greedy.
No, that's something, going back to what Nick said, that's something I really had to learn over the past 2 years of everybody can't be in the main event. As much as we might want to see Drew McIntyre be the champion, it's not now. As much as we might not see, like, going back to our I don't want to say argument, but going back to Trinity,
argue,
after like reflecting on what you had said about Trinity, it makes sense. Trinity might not be in the main event picture when she goes back to WWE, but she's going to still be a big name, So I get what you're saying. But time out here, because I don't know why PCO is coming out.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to point out, is PCO going to use this as his entrance always? That was like a
would be cool. Thing.
I was working in the lab late one night. My eyes,
and I don't know why they have him facing
when
Jay
suddenly this Quebecer began to rise. The French Canadian Frankenstein answering the open challenge, and I don't quite get the whole kind of burlesque outfit here that he's got on. He's got just like a dancing singlet.
It's evolution.
I'm trying to understand why Jay Vidal decided to have an open challenge. I'm not.
I'm trying to figure out who Jay Vidal is.
He's a part of Giselle Shaw's Entourage. I guess that's what you call it.
Yeah, this
Okay.
was not what he planned. He's like the boy. He's like one of the boys with Dalton Castle. Like, this is not good.
Exactly.
No, he is 100% the boy. He is not like with the boys. He is the boy. Yeah. So PCO is winning this in his Franken Leotard here.
His Frankentard.
Whoa, that's too close to another thing.
No, it's not.
But it goes down to like what we were talking about before with not everybody can be in the main event, everything like that. It comes down to you have to have storylines and compelling stories and creative angles, etc. that work, that keeps somebody like a Drew McIntyre who say isn't going at the title, but still keeps him in, you know, a prominent spot and everything. And granted, we've even talked about guys like Roman or Seth. Have they even got to the point with some of their stories or potential stories that they don't need the title attached to it?
I think the key word for me is progression, right? So you want to see the wrestlers progress. So if they're at the bottom, you want to see them progress along, and then once they kind of run their course, you see them kind of like go away for a little bit, like take a couple weeks off, take a couple months off, and then kind of cycle back into the group. And if they can continually do that, like, it's over, by the way, if you guys were wondering.
We're expecting different.
I heard it.
We were expecting someone else.
But that's what I'm always looking for is progress. Like if you are fighting, if you're fighting lower mid-card guys in January, you should be fighting mid-card to upper mid-card guys in September. And I want to see that growth, or you get stale. And that's the challenge of the good bookers, I think.
Facts.
No, definitely agree.
As KCJ up here saying, wrestling for life. We need to like just somehow incorporate, like have that on a soundboard thing. Like you got the applause and the upset children. Oh,
did it work?
I clearly not, because I thought you hadn't hit it yet.
I was like, did it work? I haven't used it in a long time. Did it work?
That's a negative there, 10-4, brother.
Oh, failure to launch.
Right, yeah. As I've got a video package of Okada with the Motor City Machine Guns. Well, it worked. I had to notice it was starting to go, so I shut up. Very quiet.
Wrestling for life.
There you go.
I don't have the headphones. Did it work? Okay.
I'm in boycott mode now. Verizon dropped access from my cable package, and I'm pissed. Well, that's a thing too. Like we were talking about with the cable deals and all of that. If I've seen a lot of people mention that access has now become much harder for them to try and get. So that's why, like KJ earlier tonight thought TNA Plus was going to have the weekly shows, but instead it only has the premium live events. And so now you kind of got to get the YouTube membership. It's TNA has always been great. Impact's always been great. It's the biggest thing has been trying to fucking find a way to watch it.
That's true. And TNA Plus will have Impact. It's just tonight at 10 o'clock. So
oh, so you can watch it on a super delay.
Exactly, a super delay.
Right.
And here comes Josh Alexander for the main event.
The main event. This is going to be epic here. This is going to be real good.
Well, if the first match was in it, any indication, I think we're in for a fucking hell of a match here.
That's Josh White. Josh is white.
He is white, yes.
Yeah, KJ, it just all blends.
Right.
But his wife announcing him to the ring.
There you go. As Marvin, what up? Finish your wrestling. What up? You can't have your dessert if you haven't finished your wrestling.
Can't have your pudding.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing, is only you and I got that fucking.
That was an old reference. So they're older than us.
Literally, you gotta have gray hair and make sure you take your fucking ibuprofen or your Advil or something before you go to bed tonight.
Right. That's a shout out to our dads for that one.
Right.
And here comes Will Ospreay. A lot of people were online today kind of champion Will. You know, it comes out that Seth, was named. Was it PWI named him Wrestler of the Year for 2023? A lot of people are
Yes.
saying that Will Ospreay got overlooked. Probably, partly because of the stages he generally performs on. But I thought he was my favorite of 2023.
He was definitely on a roll in 2023, and if people are saying he was overlooked in that list, he truly was. I mean, no knock on Seth Rollins, but not Okada. Ospreay's just been all over the place in a good way in 2023.
Oh, it's incredibly valid, but I think even with like most of the results on that I saw of like people were winning like 12% to like 8%, like the votes were so spread across on most of those categories and everything.
They
It just
were.
shows the state of where pro wrestling is at. We could all name 3 different pro wrestlers that you could make a case for to be the pro wrestler of 2023, and they'd all be valid and they'll have an arguable case. So that just shows you that there's no clear cut head and shoulders above anybody. Everybody's rising to the occasion here.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And
Right.
I mean, spoiled as wrestling fans. I think the cool thing about Ospreay was you could legitimately argue what was his best banger of the year. Like he had so many everywhere he went. He was like, I'm going to turn it out, and that's what he did.
When we were doing the awards, we literally had to trim it down to like one Ospreay match. It would have just been a Will Ospreay category for best match of the year.
He had like 72 great matches.
Exactly. You could have just match number 1002, Wrestle Kingdom, match number 1004.
We caught some shit online for because we went with the Wrestle Kingdom match over the not the Worlds Collide, the new what the fuck's the pay-per-view called with AEW and Forbidden Door, completely blank. People felt that match might have been better, but that's I guess the sentiment, right?
It should have just been the Will Ospreay category.
Some people thought Pitfall was the best one.
No, that might be next year. Like, let's just do a whole category for Will Ospreay.
Well, I think we need to set up a rule that if a certain person wins the same category like X amount of number of years in a row, it just becomes their award. The artist mentioning, y'all know Tama Tonga leaving at the end of the month too. We ain't talking about that. Well, he thinks he's got fired.
Did he?
Well, remember,
that's right.
Where they took him off the entire New Japan page.
Yeah.
He's like, "What the fuck is this? I haven't even left yet. You just fired me before I quit."
Yeah, you didn't fire me. I quit. I'm out.
Right.
Tama Tonga, Lance on Hawaii. There's a bunch of names that are available for purchase right now. I mean, including the guys like Hammerstone and such. Like this is, again, that's part of the buzz. Like it feels like you're watching NFL, NBA, NHL, where holy shit, free agents, and it matters.
Exactly. Yep. I think all of the free agents at this point, it matters of where they go.
We've gotten to that point in wrestling that it's NFL free agency, NBA free agency of you're, waiting to see who offers what to what person. Like, Julia leaving Stardom, New Japan, and all of that. And then everybody's talking about allegedly AEW never threw an offer out there. And you have people are like, "Are you kidding me?" It's literally come to that discussion of like, if whatever big free agent in whatever sports you like just became on the market, and you found out your team didn't throw an offer out there, you gotta like, what the fuck are we doing out here?
Oh, so rude crossbody.
But BK, to answer your question, I don't know specifically in your era, but I feel like most of Access just kind of seems to be off a lot of people's radar to be able to watch. So you got us and you got YouTube, their membership. That seems to be about it.
I recommend YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is the best bet. It's 99 cents. You get all the, 4 episodes of the weekly Impact show. So it's definitely a good choice.
Right. Well, so you're saying I use YouTube TV to pay for access. So it's even, I have YouTube TV as well. So it's even off there. So just do the regular YouTube and then you can have them up in one tab and you can have us up in the other tab. And there you go.
Back. Interesting question I saw here was what was better? Ospreay, thank you, Kyle. Ospreay Bailey or Ospreay Alexander 1?
Oh, easily Ospreay versus Bailey. That easily Ospreay versus Bailey for me. Nothing has touched that, at least for Ospreay's run in TNA yet.
Yeah.
Very valid. Very valid. I would agree with that. Both it's a conversation worth having, but I would agree with that.
Oh. You know, it's different styles. And Bailey, you know, living up to the moniker of Speedball, like they were zooming for the entire match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Josh is a thicker, heavier, slower dude.
Well, Ospreay versus Speedball reminds me of like the matches that were what really established both guys actually with Ospreay versus Ricochet.
Yeah.
So it harkens back to that kind of style, and that's where Ospreay really flourishes.
Oh,
Yeah.
caught the foot.
Got him in an ankle lock.
I'm still
Ospreay was
disappointed.
trying to grab a table at one point.
Oh shit.
Devon!
I'm still disappointed we didn't get a Kurt Angle appearance at Hard to Kill. Just saying.
So he could just
Yeah, that's it. Just come out and make the face.
Tornado DDT off the steps there. Now,
that was sick.
Question. Did Ospreay not go to WWE because you wouldn't have been able to really wrestle this style in WWE? Like the back handspring, the tornado DDTs, all that. Yeah.
My theory with that is it's more than that. I think that's the simple way to look at it, and I think they would let him have some of these matches. Like if especially with Triple H, you know, running the ship, if you could say, you know what, Trips is going to do Ricochet versus Ospreay for the IC title at a Mania, Trips would be all for it. But I think the trickier part of that is it's the lack of freedom, the more controls, it's the rules, it's you know, you're in that WWE bubble. You sign with AEW, you can still go do your New Japan, you can still go do your indie shows. There's a lot more freedom, and the boss is a little bit lax. That's my theory on it, more than just the actual wrestling.
Fair enough.
No, I kind of agree with you there. I think once you're in that WWE cycle, it's like it's hard to get out and you can't do really anything else. And I think that's a lot of the indie guys' decisions about going to either AEW or Impact. But then you have people like Chelsea Green who has dreamed to be in WWE, and that's all she's wanted to do as a wrestler. So you have to have that mindset to be like, if I'm going to be in WWE, I'm not going to be able to wrestle anywhere else as long as I'm under contract with them.
Yeah. But granted, though, are we still viewing WWE in its situation and how it views talent and how it wants to sign talent under the Vince narrative? Because that's all we've known for up until not even, I feel, almost 6 months now. So we haven't seen a true Triple H free agent class under Endeavor and everything. So be really interesting. Granted, he's missed some guys, like clearly he missed Ospreay, he's missed Jay White, that we thought were on the radar, right? But we could get, you know, you could bring in somebody like Julia. It's you don't know where they were exactly aiming. It's a narrative that's been created, but we're almost expecting guys that they bring in just the way that it was under Vince.
Yeah, no, but I don't think, creatively, you know, you get that. And I think there's another factor that some people that have gone public about why they re-signed with the AEW is you look at the house show schedule. Like WWE just announced last night or the night before 21 new live shows coming to North America. You know, that's part of their repertoire. If you look at the wrestlers right now that wrestle once every 3 weeks, once every 5 weeks in AEW for equal or greater pay, that to a lot of them is very endearing, right? So I think that Triple H does give you a little more freedom and a little more clout, but I still think if you sign a WWE contract, you might get, you know, if you're a special person, you get a one-off in New Japan. You might not get, you know, the GCW shows or the, you know, that kind of shit. Oh,
that was a nasty backbreaker. And that was kind of going back to what you just said,
Oh,
KJ. That was kind of my thing about Trinity going back to WWE. One of the things she really came out and said when she signed with TNA was that she wanted to do Broadway and
Oh,
she wanted to do a lot of acting. So I'm like, when it was announced that she might be going back to WWE, I'm like, are they going to give you that opportunity to do
yeah.
Broadway and branch out into acting like you wanted to? I don't know.
That's a very good point. I didn't know she wanted to do Broadway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she wanted to do Broadway and delve more into acting. And so when that was announced, I was like, well, maybe there's a clause in your WWE contract that is going to allow you to do that. I don't know, and that could come to where Nick is saying it could be different under Triple H.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Well, he gave everyone Christmas off. That's different.
right, that's different because I know that one year he made them work Monday Night Raw live. So
Well, that's the thing is we're so conditioned to when we think about anything of how WWE runs for the most part, we're still conditioned to think how it
Mhm.
was with Vince at the helm versus now it's actually been sold and it's a publicly traded company. Hunter and Nick Connor in charge of it. So
Yeah,
it's it's a muscle car with a fucking new engine in it here.
yeah,
right.
and I think a lot of the naysayers lean on that old shit, like the a lot of the criticism of the booking and how people are treated. It was very much the past. Hopefully.
Well, sometimes you got to let a naysayer know. But
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
oh, table spot.
The crowd is into this.
Ooh.
No way.
Oh no,
Oh,
no.
holy
Oh
both men
no.
on the ring apron here. Josh Ellington. Headbutt.
Oh.
Super kick.
And he put the hook on it. I love it. This is gonna hurt.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
pedigree pile driver or power bomb through
Uh,
the table off the ring apron. Will Ospreay and Josh Alexander.
well, if you're gonna have a main event for your relaunch show, this might be the one.
Exactly. Wow.
Ooh.
I don't even know what you would call that move.
It was like the double hook power bomb, right? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, you
butterfly
got him
bomb.
hooked.
What's
Well,
that?
Easy Bake's trying to say it was a tiger driver. I don't think it was
Yeah.
really. It was set him up more like the pedigree, and then like just
Yeah.
ripped him up into a power bomb.
Mhm.
I thought he was gonna damn near try and hit a fucking Stormbreaker through it.
Well, it looked like Josh was going for his finisher, which is eluding me at the moment. Scott, we appreciate you, by the way, man. We really do. I know it seems like some change, but we super appreciate it. But Gunther was the wrestler, in my opinion. Gunther, wrestler of the year. Maybe overlooked because he was in the mid card, with the IC title. But again, definitely in contention.
Well, I think even with our awards through the fan vote and everything, Cody won it with us. So
I was so
that just
bummed
again
out.
shows you there's right there. There's three different names. And again, you throw an Ospreay, there's four that already right there. There's contentions and credibility that they should have won it.
I don't know what just happened, but it was a lot
Oscar!
that happened in a matter of
One,
seconds.
two go.
That's what you do when a guy's rolling back in the ring is you just Shane O'Mac him from the other corner. Like you give him that fucking huge drop kick before Josh could even get to his feet.
See, I think if Ospreay was to be in WWE, they'd let him run this kind of style because it'd be so unique to what they fucking do. And think about it, you could sit there and play an ox cutter into a fucking spear from Roman Reigns or something like that. You could play with all that type of springboard technique. He's Ricochet with the size of a main eventer in WWE.
And wasn't Triple H allowing a lot of this to happen in NXT, stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why we got your ricochets and all that. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's what I was kind of hoping for. Like when when he was talking about the contracts in AEW, and like you start fantasy booking. Even right now, if you tuned into Rumble or even a Raw, and it was Seth Rollins, Will Ospreay main event, it would look kind of like this. It would be a outstanding fucking match.
You can go back to, I think it was an interview a while ago with like Inside the Ropes or something like that. Like I'm talking over almost 10 years plus, I want to say, to where you had Paul Heyman out there offering Will Ospreay a contract before he would even really done that much in New Japan or anything like that. This man was a fucking prodigy. And so WWE's been trying to get him for the longest time.
But I think there's going to be a good amount of wrestlers, and Okada might be one of the first ones that kind of take the AJ Styles path of like, AJ Styles, had the first few years in WWE where it was like, all right, this is AJ, but he was getting to that point of his career where he couldn't really give you this, 5-alarm blaze every, week in and week out.
Right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand.
That Spanish fly, my goodness.
Spanish fly.
I'm trying to concentrate and listen to you guys talk, but this match just keeps drawing me in.
Yeah, no, ignore us. This is way better.
My mind is telling me no, but my body. As we got a fight forever chant.
Yeah, TK, by the day, Ricky. You're not wrong, Ricky. It's sometimes we become the things we hate, And I feel like he was so opposed to being that, he's evolving into that. He even got his EVPs with little mustaches.
Right. I was fucking absolutely read my mind. But yeah, Tony Khan's more Anakin Skywalker than Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, Stun Dog Millionaire. That is fucking rude. This is better than their first match.
Way better than their first match.
What's up, Rashad? We are enjoying a hell of a main event here on TNA.
And I think though, so now I question, because there was obviously more recorded with this when they were still in Vegas. Is that going to be next week's? We're going to get Snake Eyes Part 2.
Yeah,
I think actually while you were on your pause, they announced some of the matches.
Okay.
Trinity and Jordan Grace is one of them.
Okay, so we are getting Snake Eyes 2. We're getting full craps instead of half craps.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And now they announced a bunch of matches that they're taping Friday, Saturday, this weekend coming for the coming weeks. Yeah.
Yep.
And they look wicked too.
The Okada match is next week as well too.
Yes.
Turn up there. Oh my God. Oh, I thought this man was about to hit a fucking tombstone on the extra tramp there. But so I'll ask this quick, KJ, because you were on your pause when I brought up to Anthony, and the chat can still let me know, and you can answer whenever when we get any sort of a bit of a pause here. As we're about to get the Hidden Blade.
Yeah.
But does Impact TNA need to go live instead of recorded?
It would be nice if they could, especially. Wow.
God damn. Catches the Ospreay. And I like that Ospreay. It's not even at times it's a super kick. It's like a spinning head kick. Tombstone on the ramp. I called it before I saw it.
Yeah, that cheeky hook kick. I love it. Like it sells the realism. Instead of just throwing the leg up straight, when he puts the curve to the knee and you get the heel off the cheek, it's great.
Yeah, when you get the top of the foot that hits the actual back of the head, it's an actual UFC hook kick.
Yeah. But what a tombstone on the ramp. What was your question? Oh, going live. Yeah.
Yes. Don't worry. Trust me. I threw it out there and was expecting not to catch to fucking reel that shit in for quite a while here.
Yeah.
So.
A lot of shit happened. I think if they can land a TV or get close to landing a TV deal, it will help with that. I think I think it's cost effective for Impact. And especially when you can bring a bunch of talent together for 2 days, film a bunch of shit for 2 nights and let them go, opposed to trying to wrangle them all week in and week out. And, you can't afford to pay them what other people can, but you can offer them good money with the freedom to make other money.
Fair enough. Valid.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to say something, then I saw a move. I had to stop. But I think to start off with live impacts, maybe go live before each pay-per-view. The Thursday before,
Yeah,
maybe do a live thing before then gradually move from there.
I like that. Wow.
I don't
That's
know what he
valid.
just did from the top rope, Alexander, but that was amazing.
And
It's like a
transition-
front flip Samoan drop there.
Exactly.
it was-
As now he rolls through a 2 count into an ankle lock here. As Boston right now, I think we all need to take note, as he even points out, of we have a match of the year candidate here, boys.
yeah.
And we're only 2-3
Oh!
weeks into 2024.
See, that's what I love right there about Josh Alexander. He lets go of the ankle lock, jumps on the man's ankle, and then grabs the ankle lock again. Like, you won't tap? I'll make you tap. Won't get
He
out? I'll
brings
push you
back
out.
that intensity to it, like a Ken Shamrock, like a
Yeah.
Kurt Angle.
Oh. Hey, I just dawned on me, and maybe I'm stupid, but did Josh start the match without the headgear?
No, he threw it off. He
Okay,
just
I
threw
did.
it off
Okay.
probably about 5 minutes
A
ago.
lot's happened. I was like, he had it on, right?
Both men getting to their feet in opposite corners here.
Ooh.
Oh,
Well-
step up enziguri from Ospreay. Big right hand from Josh.
Whew.
Oh,
Okay.
up to the top. Oh, cheating downs kick. Oh. Every time I see that move, I feel like that guy's jaw just went into like the
Oh,
first,
so
second,
good.
third, or fourth row.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Oh.
And Josh is such a big guy.
Poison runner.
Ridiculous.
Super poison
2
runner.
count. Oh man.
Hidden blade to the front on a 2 count. We're 3 weeks into
I
2024
was
and
about to
we've
say
already
that.
got match of the goddamn year.
January 2023, Will Ospreay had arguably the best match of 2023. Here we are, January 2024, and the man's already setting the pace. He's already setting the bar to what we need to do to fucking have it at 2024.
That's this man's new gimmick. He's the fucking litmus test. He is the bar.
He
We
is
don't
the
just set the
bar.
bar. We are the bar.
Going for the hooks.
Oh,
Nope. Wow.
God,
this
Diamondback
man keeps
elbow.
kicking out. Oh.
He won't
Storm
stay
driver.
down.
1, 2, 2 count, 2 count.
Alexander will not.
This is why they call Alexander the walking weapon.
Yeah.
Like this is it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, man, we had a very highly publicized main event on Monday. We had a highly publicized main event on Wednesday, and this is the best main event we've got this week, bar none.
And it still goes to tell you that literally every show so far we've had this week has pretty much had a publicized and hyped up main event.
Yeah, shit.
Oh, wrestling is back, goddammit.
Yeah.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
I want to see Anthony just go on TikTok, just neener.
Right. No, he's just got to pull up the camera and just go, ha! 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 Ha!
Oh, big forearm. Spanish fly. Oh shit.
Clothesline. Turn that man inside out.
He clotheslined that man out of his boots. God damn, this is a match.
But
We
this
got-
is again, this is what
He's
you
trying for the Styles Clash.
at the best of moments with TNA, as much as everybody poo-poos on it, but at the best of moments with TNA, this is the type of shit it was. You had
Exactly.
this with AJ Styles, Kurt Angle.
No way. Oh, no way.
Call back there where we go from the Styles Clash into an ankle lock.
Oh wait. Oh, Alexander with the Styles Clash.
Oh.
He is such a beast of a human being.
I can't tell.
Styles Clash.
See, this
That's
is
still
what
the
we're
smoothest pinning
Speed
transition
Force
ever.
fight.
yeah, Nick, this is what me and you were talking about before, like at the beginning of the show about the muscle buster. There's a bunch of other things you could do to have the person kick out of. There it is,
Right.
the C4.
3.
Let's fucking go. Oh, Canada.
Wow.
Oh, Canada.
Well, and even just look at the reaction. Christ, for most of that match, we're 3 grown men out here that are just trying to sit there and talk about the wrestling, and we're all
Yeah.
goddamn silent because we were watching it, captivated. And the second that match was done, the entire crowd, yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, chat. I know we've been ignoring y'all, but man, we can't get a word in with each other. Never mind you. So
Right.
we're trying.
Wow.
That's BS. Why is Alexander being so over? What do you? You're gonna
Because
have
he's
to.
signed there. The other guy isn't.
Oh yeah, no, that's it. Yeah. Home field advantage, my guy.
Right.
I'm
Once
sorry,
the
but I
company
went
together
into this
doesn't.
match expecting Josh Alexander to win.
Yes.
Like it was no other clear winner than Josh
Mhm.
Alexander.
He is the heart of TNA. Like he is the backbone. Like you want to use that term pillar, which I hate, but that Josh was that guy. Like when he could have left Impact and chose to stay because he wanted his legacy there. And here's Scott D'Amore. Like it's
He is the guy when it comes to TNA.
and they got a lot of guys. Like they got a lot of talent, guys
But
and
there,
girls.
if you
But
talk
he
about
is that guy. He's that core,
yeah,
right?
that guy that if you pick somebody out of TNA to be like,
Oh.
that's your fucking representative, everybody's picking that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like when you joke about Brock, right? Like you send out your alpha. It's Josh. Go get him, Josh.
Guy, your name is the walking weapon. Do fucking something.
Oh, someone's got to tell Scott D'Amore that spray tan doesn't look good on Canadians.
Yeah.
It don't work well with our complexion.
Why does TNA have Donald D'Amore out there?
I love Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, but who the fuck has a Florida tan in Ontario?
Well, he's been hanging out in Vegas doing his thing, right? But yeah, like that's why the first thing I noticed. Why is this Canadian so orange? We import those motherfuckers.
They need a ton of them fucking carrots out here.
Right. Oh, making a shot at Bruce. We got bleed over in the first episode.
Well, when you got a whole mini pay-per-view, you've got to cut up. I'm expecting a little.
Right.
Hey, but guess what? They didn't tell us it. They didn't announce it. They didn't do anything like that. They just let it happen.
I think you guys touched on it earlier, and I was too busy looking at this match. But I mean, 3 highly popularized main events, and this one turned out to be the best one. No surprise, because it's TNA. So
The man's got his bragging rights. He's earned it.
What was the cage match rating?
It better be fucking good. That's all I know.
Well, I'll ask, especially because he's out here. Granted, he's got a suit on, but he's still got the headset and everything. Is Scott D'Amore Canadian Paul Heyman?
In a
Just
sense,
say yes. You had to think about it that much. Just say yes.
it's just it's just Paul's so goated, but you gotta love Scott. Like,
Paul Heyman.
you like Scott D'Amore because you know everything Scott D'Amore is saying is from his chest.
yeah,
He's saying everything from the fucking heart. He means all of it. I love the guy. He's like little.
But that's
Dennis
what got
Menace.
Paul Lee over in ECW.
Yeah, facts. Okay, I'll give you it. I came around. I only hesitated because Paul's such a good.
You're like, well, I don't want to fully give you a Canadian. I'll give you half a Canadian.
No, you gotta love Scotty.
Paul Canada man. I don't know why that popped me.
Jesus,
Man's
what a
just
promo.
cutting the fucking fieriest promo. This is, like I said, this is Paul Heyman right now talking about, one night stand. This ain't WWE. This ain't even WCW. This is EC and W.
He has the best mic drops. So TNA is back, and it is never, ever going away.
Wow.
Little respects to from Ospreay to Josh, and vice versa. What a fucking match, man!
Wow. I think it exceeded my expectations again. The Scott D'Amore is just Booker of the Year already. I was
gonna say, so when we get to the half year awards already, let's keep this in mind now. Let's just everybody make a note of this. Put this in your check marks,
Right. Folks, we do take a rating at the end of every show that we cover. If you want to jump in the chat, give us a rating out of 10. We're going to keep this one a little short and sweet, as it did run over quite a few minutes tonight.
It did.
By my clock, so that's kind of fun too.
I don't know if I'm just jaded by AW, but 9 minutes does not feel super over to me. I was like, I feel like we just did this last night.
And Tuesday went 8.
Right, exactly. 8, 7, 8, 9.
Scott D'Amore is more dusty. JV, I kind of like that analogy too. Again,
it's hard times out here when the maple syrup won't dip from the trees, baby. It's hard time when you're out here tapping and you got to move something.
Tapping them trees.
100%, baby.
I'm gonna have to give this. I don't want to go 10, even though it was a 10. I'm gonna go 9. I'm gonna go 9 only because I'm going to SmackDown tomorrow. So SmackDown is probably going to be immediately a 10 because I'm there. So,
dude, that's gonna be fun.
You got to get the exclusive footage then if you're going to be there. I did not know you're going to be there.
We gotta give this man some swag to walk around with.
Just the sign guy, Anthony.
You gave it a 9?
Yeah, 9. 9.5. Only because of SmackDown.
It's 2024. Anthony's already given out 2 10s.
I just love everything. Everybody's amazing.
They're on a hot streak.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious up in
here. I'm with you though. That, like, as far as a weekly show goes, that was a 9. Like, I what did it miss? I mean, other than not liking to give out 10, maybe 8.5 would be being a little conservative, but man, it cooked. And that main event, fuck.
The only miss, was the PCO thing. I don't know what that was, but I'm like, but did it overshadow anything else on the show? No.
I will, I guess, be the dun and give it an 8.5. And that's why I thought it was funny that you're like, that's the conservative take on here of 100% main event. Fantastic. I think that also might swing a lot of the ratings, might carry a lot of it, obviously. Granted, halfway warranted, but also I do want to hold, a little bit of a place there because once they get out of Vegas, I want to see how they do weekly and week in and week out.
Yeah. By June, Anthony giving out 17s and shit.
No, that's big though, Nick, saying after they come out of Vegas, how is it going to be? And one of the big keys there is not only the wrestling, they're going to bring the wrestling, but that production has to be on Vegas, right. I feel like. And we can't go back to looking like it's midnight in a wrestling ring. We can't go back to that.
No, I agree, but a solid show. I thought the tag match was great. Set up an angle with Kazarian and EY, which has got me intrigued. The PCO spot was what it was, but it was so quick and painless. I was like, fine, we're good with that.
Exactly.
And I'm never going to take points off for PCO.
No. And the crowd.
The Canadian is showing.
Mm-hmm. Am I dripping syrup again? And 9.5, 9, 8 out of 10. That's fair. 9.
Wait, hold on. I got backlash for 8.5. Someone that's in the chat throws out 8, and they're fine. That's good.
Tony
it's
Khan
because you're Nick. It's because you're Nick.
Oh, that's fine. You can have that.
I think you just pulled a Tony Khan and made up your own backlash.
Absolutely. Fuck it.
Like all this hatred. We're like, wait, what?
Hey, that's how I'm gonna get some shit over. That's how we got Hook over.
Right. But yeah, no, 8.5 is fine. I could understand. I mean, I wouldn't go if anyone pops in the chat and says that was a 7.6. We might have an argument on our hands, but that was an amazing show.
I'm tracking your IP address down and coming to find you.
I will find you. I have a very particular set of skills.
Yeah. Are you Young Bucks fan 846432?
Why do I feel like they did like it was either WWE or WCW did like a commercial kind of like that, like back in like the 90s, early 2000s. Of it was they had somebody that actually showed up at your door and like, are you so and so? Or no, I'm thinking of fucking Bob. Yeah, thinking, that's how you know I'm on the vitamins. But yeah.
Your movies are blending into your wrestling.
Exactly. Well, shout out to my good lady because she's let me know that I've guess been talking. I've been basically doing the show in my sleep at times.
God,
been calling out finishes, everything.
If that lady could get me a fucking recording, my guy, I would love her forever. I swear to God.
I'm a fucking recording. I'm amazed she hasn't choked me out with a pillow or something yet. And I'm still alive. And I'm still here.
0 to 10, no Trish. All right.
What'd you guys think of Brookside? Will you shut the fuck up?
Would you last kind of question for me though, but I didn't really catch the Zaya Brookside debut. How did it go?
I thought it was solid for Brookside. I chose Brookside to win and really didn't expect her to win, but she did. I think we'll see more of Brookside and her wrestling ability over the next, couple of weeks. They are running back Tasha Steelz and Brookside tomorrow at the tapings.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with Brookside.
Okay. Oh, all right. Nick, I mean, I know we usually there might be some copyright.
Gimmick infringement, but I accept it. I acknowledge it. But our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. When you're talking about the wrestling, but put that full life with it.
Say something, Anthony.
What?
Hey, tell your bald-headed uncle that we are live every week.
There you go. See you on the flip side, folks. Come back tomorrow. Good night.